radio.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
Okay, we know the madness that happened in the debate between Donald Trump and Joe Biden. Are you excited at all for the debate tonight between Kamala Harris and Mike Pence? Hey, I'm Mike Ferguson in for Annie Frey. And once again, Annie comes back tomorrow. So I'm just filling in, keeping the seat warm for the day here. But the number is the same. Let me know what you think. 314-241-9797. Are you going to watch this debate tonight? Are you really interested in it? Because Ryan, Katie, here's what I think. And then there's a couple other things that are just kind of on my radar we'll go to, then maybe talk to everybody about the debate tonight, is that I think this is probably going to be the most substantive of the conversations and the debates. I think both candidates are going to be on their best behavior. Whatever Donald Trump and Joe Biden did last week, they're like, okay, don't do that because that caused such a firestorm. So I think Kamala Harris is wrong about almost everything, but I think she's really smart, and I think this could actually be a fascinating discussion.
Here's what's really sad. I think you're right, and that's why I'm not excited about it. It will. They're going to actually talk policy tonight, is my guess. I also think that we are underestimating a bit Mike Pence. He's a smart guy, and he's better at debating than we give him credit for, because we just think, oh, he's so wooden, he's just going to kind of sit there. But Kamala Harris is not great at debating. We know that from her debates in the Democratic primary. So I think we're in for a bit of a surprise tonight as far as the optics of it go anyway.
Yeah, probably. Excuse me, probably. Yeah. All right. 314-241-9797 or 866-455-9797. Are you going to be watching? Are you interested? Do you think this is going to be something? I don't know that debates change votes anymore, but I'm wondering if, when you look at the vice presidential debate tonight, frankly, and I know this is going to tick somebody off, but considering the age of the presidential contenders, I think it would be helpful to watch tonight's debate as though you were watching the actual presidential candidates, because either one may have to step up and may have to step up and be president. I mean, you have that with any vice presidential candidate, but in this case, given the circumstances that are at hand with mid 70s and late 70s candidates, I think it would help to look at it from that point of view.
Do you really get that sense about Trump, though? I mean, no. Of course, we're going to be in the bag for Trump because we like Trump, but he seems to have so much more energy than Biden. And Biden were openly questioning his health all the time. Trump just apparently got over coronavirus. So,
right. And that's the thing, though. People forget how old Donald Trump is.
Yeah.
Because he comes across as a 50-something-year-old.
Yeah. He's got a young personality. That's for sure.
Yep.
I don't know what I feel about these debates tonight. I said this last week. I think they're going to be boring. But I'm just so disappointed in what we watched in the presidential debates between Biden and Trump that I guess anything will be good. Any type of policy talk will be good. I have a feeling that what they're going to be asked about is if they really, really know the president that they're backing. Like, Mike Pence, do you really know how it is to work with Trump, and are you backing his policies? And Kamala Harris, do you know any of Joe Biden's policies? Do you know anything about his campaign?
Yeah, that's a good question, because that's the point of the VP debate. I mean, we forget that, but the whole VP debate is to shine the spotlight back on the president.
Yeah.
Mike Pence is really good at that.
Yeah.
Kamala Harris is
what does she
not
have to
very
work
good
with?
at that. And everything she's done, I mean, they've caught her flat-footed on questions. Well, why did you say this about Joe Biden, a few months ago? Oh, just because. Like, there's no answer.
I mean,
so she'll be on trial tonight in a way.
Yeah, I mean, Joe Biden doesn't know what's going on with Joe Biden's campaign half the time it comes across. I mean, my goodness. But I think a lot of these, most debates are just worthless. They have been for the past probably three or four election cycles. This is all about which gotcha soundbite can you get and use in your ads. That's really good. But then again, I'm disappointed with anything in politics that doesn't actually resemble the West Wing. I just want it to be like the West Wing. Is that
So
too much to
badly.
ask? A bunch of young people with very quirky,
Snappy,
fast-witted,
yeah.
snappy. I just want Sorkin to write our political dialogue. Is that too much to ask?
It is, because I do not like
Ryan
him.
hates him.
It is a known fact in this show that you just brought up a very sore subject, and that is that I do not like him or anything he does or his dialogue especially.
I loved the West Wing. Man. All right. Okay. So a couple things also, speaking of politics, is now we got a new twist and turn on the stimulus thing. I actually have some friends who say, I really wish they would, I really wish they would get, the stimulus thing done. I really need it. I personally am one of those that are saying, we really don't need to borrow another, $1 trillion or so. But the president's now saying if we limit it to these checks, PPP program, and I think pay one other thing, then I'll make a deal. But the Democrats kind of went all in. So we may or may not get a stimulus plan. We'll find out. But here is it's cut 4. But my goodness, I lost my paper.
The president is already been on the phone this morning talking to Secretary Mnuchin. The secretary and I have been talking about what we could do with standalone bills to help airlines, small businesses, and the American people with stimulus checks. So hopefully we can convince Speaker Pelosi to do something on a standalone basis.
And that was Mark Meadows talking about where the conversation is on stimulus. I'm going to be really honest. I hope they almost don't get another stimulus bill done, because I think the spending is crazy and reckless, and the economy is coming back and people are going back to work. That's not to diminish the hardships of some people who are still struggling right now and still being put out of work. But a lot of those folks are like in St. Louis County, for instance, where the government has shut things down. So yeah, they want more stimulus funds, but don't blame Nancy Pelosi or Donald Trump if you don't get that extra boost right now. Blame the local government for keeping you out of work, or for for what's going on. So I think that'll come up tonight in the debates, and they're both going to accuse the other of being reckless and irresponsible and not understanding economics. I think that's fair to say.
You and I are in the same camp here, Mike, and I don't think it's a popular one that I don't want to see them spend any more money that they don't have to. And with the job numbers do keep increasing. They'll be harder. It's just like when you play golf. They say, when you're scoring 100, it's easy to shave off strokes. When you're scoring 80, it's harder and harder to shave off strokes. So the closer we get to a better unemployment, the harder it is going to be to grind back to where we were. And that's kind of where we are right now. So we're in kind of a catch-22 situation where a stimulus right now would help temporarily, but is it long-term worth it? I don't know.
We're going to go to the phone lines in just a second. But a couple weeks ago, I actually interviewed Congresswoman Vicky Hartzler, who's from the mid-Missouri, kind of central and west central part of Missouri. And she pointed out that there's something like almost $1 trillion from the first stimulus plan that's in hand, but hasn't been spent yet. So there's still money that could be spent right now.
But did Trump do himself a disservice by tweeting that out
yes,
a day after he returned to the White House? I mean, did he just totally blow it by tweeting out that he wanted to cut the stimulus package?
I mean, maybe, but every time I say, oh, he's done it this time, he turns around and ends up winning that particular part of the chess game.
Because I could see real conservatives being like, no, that's awesome. Like you two are saying, like, we don't need to add any more to the deficit. But then also at that same time, like when people that really don't know too much about that are looking at his tweets saying like, wow, gee whiz, I'm a normal average person. I could really use that stimulus check.
Right.
Does that sway anyone?
See, and I've had several friends that are like, I need them to get this thing done. I mean, I'm struggling. I'm really hurting. And these are people who work in retail. They work in, service industry. They're people who have had their industries just kicked in the teeth by this. And there's a lot of people saying, I really need that $1,200 check. I really need that right now. So yeah, I mean, I don't know what the political affiliations are of these folks. I'm sure it's across the board, but this would directly affect a lot of people.
I wonder if he didn't use as he always does, negotiation tactic. If he says it's all done and everybody reacts and goes, oh my gosh, it's all done. And then, well, it lights a fire under people to actually get it done. He does this kind of stuff all the time. And he was already on Twitter by the end of the day saying, well, okay, now we'll
Good
see.
point.
And the market responded to that too. So
Yeah,
we'll see.
Yep, exactly. All right. So are you going to be looking for that or anything else in tonight's debate? Let's go to the phone lines. Hey, Beth, you are up first. Good afternoon to you. Are you looking forward to this debate or not?
I am. I'm a news junkie, political junkie. I think that Mike Pence will handle her in short order, just like he did Tim Kaine, where he puts the negative before the positive and kind of gives that fatherly, very calm, very pointed attack and makes it seem like a conversation. He's really good at that, and I think he's underestimated on tonight's debate. This is kind of off topic, but I wanted to ask a question. I just saw that Derek Chauvin was out on bail, and I'm wondering about the timing of that. That's some timing.
Yeah, Beth, I'm gonna confess I haven't seen that news story. We'll look
It was
it up like during the break here.
Breaking news about 7 minutes ago, and I have to wonder if the upswing of the Republicans and tonight's debate wasn't timed perfectly to, start the race riots again, because that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, I don't know, Beth. I appreciate you letting me know about that headline. Thanks for the call, Beth. We'll just let's look that up during the break and see what's going on, and we can consider that as well. All right, let's go to the phone lines here. By the way, I do think Beth is absolutely right. I think Mike Pence does get underestimated because he's not boisterous. He's not muscling his way into the conversation. He's one of those people that doesn't have a lot to say, but when he does say something, it's really substantive. And so I think that's how he'll generally come across. I've been a fan of his since he was in Congress and then before he was, governor of Indiana. So I really like Mike Pence. All right, Paul, you are up next. Hey, Paul, thanks for calling in. You're on the Annie Frey Show.
Hey, how you guys doing today?
Good so far.
Hey, got a question about the stimulus check, something I haven't really heard anybody mention or discuss. So on the checks that already went out, and if they do a second round of checks, is that something that's going to have to be claimed as income on your income taxes, and then nobody's paid taxes on it, so it's going to hit you at the end of the year when you file taxes? I haven't heard anything about that.
I asked that question of another Congress critter about a month ago or so, Blaine Luetkemeyer, and he told me that the stimulus checks are not taxable as income. That was what he told me his understanding was. So as far as I know, they are not taxed.
Hey, can I make a quick comment or tell you something real quick?
Yeah, sure.
So obviously I'm a Trump supporter, right? I have Trump flags that fly on the back of my pickup, and I've been driving around the last month and a half with those flags everywhere I go. And it's amazing the response I get, positive. From kids, from teenagers, from people. I get people blowing their horns, waving, thumbs up. Way more positive response than I ever thought I'd see in certain areas, rural areas where I drive all over the state, and it's crazy to me the response. How it was encouraging, right? And I have gotten some negative. People want to yell at you and scream at you and flip you off, but that's only happened like 3 or 4 times. So I think that's pretty encouraging. At least I found that very encouraging, especially the younger population that was really excited about the flags one.
All right. Hey, appreciate that, Paul. All right. The number here, 314-241-9797. You can also call me at 866-455-9797. I'm Mike Ferguson in for Annie Frey. One more time, just ahead, there's a new requirement. Every police officer on the Missouri side of the state line is going to have to go through, among other things, annual implicit bias training. Is that a good idea? We'll tell you what we know about it. Love to get your thoughts on that just ahead right here on the Annie Frey Show.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show. Interact with Annie on Facebook. The Annie Frey Show.
I
feel like I'm being haunted by a pair of headphones. Everywhere I go is a creepy ad for headphones I looked at one time. I hate feeling like I'm being watched. I downloaded DuckDuckGo and saw a difference right away. Take back your privacy with DuckDuckGo.
On November 3rd, St. Louis City will vote on Prop D, a key initiative to reform local elections to meet the standard set by 80% of cities nationwide. Under our current system, leaders are often elected with less than 35% of voters. Utilizing approval voting with the top two runoff, Prop D would ensure that winners have broad support from the community. To learn more, visit stlapproves.org. That's stlapproves.org. Paid for by STL Approves.
Every day, Ameren, Illinois works to deliver reliable energy throughout the state to on-the-go families, new parents, in-the-know grandparents, busy students, night owls, weekend warriors, and more. But did you know we also have options to help manage and track your energy, like paperless billing, outage notifications, pick a due date, and so much more. So no matter who you are or how you use your energy, there's an option that's right for you. Learn more at amerenillinois.com/options.
Home remodeling is a tough business to try to take on yourself, and Lakeside Renovation and Design is ready there to take that pressure off of you and give you that product, that room, that expansion, that exterior transformation that you've always wanted. Lakeside Renovation and Design.com is the website. They used to be Lakeside Exteriors, and they are the trusted go-to name in the St. Louis metro area for James Hardy siding. Now, if you are looking for help in your masterpiece of the transformation of the outside of your home, Lakeside Renovation and Design can do that. They can guide you. They can give you ideas. They have so many success stories and beautiful transformations they've done in the past. But if you know exactly what you want, they can help you with that too. Inside the home, they started getting asked to come back and do projects because people liked working with Lakeside so much they could trust them. And that goes so very far. That's why they offer a lifetime workmanship warranty on top of the manufacturer's warranty and have been in business for over 2 decades. Check them out online at lakesidrenovationanddesign.com.
Save big money and get 11% off everything now at Menards. Schlage offers durable door hardware in a variety of designs and finishes. Say goodbye to lost, stolen, or forgotten keys with the Century Electronic Deadbolt Lock Set. It's just $109.99 after 11% rebate. Get 11% off everything now at Menards. Prices are good until Saturday, October 10th. Savings are a mail-in rebate. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards.
Attention! If you're in debt to the IRS and frustrated with your options, for a limited time you can call and quickly check your eligibility for the Fresh Start programs offered by the IRS to reduce or even eliminate your tax problem. Through this special toll-free hotline number, you can find out in minutes if you qualify for these life-changing debt reduction programs. If you're in a payment plan with no end in sight, have unfiled tax returns, under audit, have a wage or bank levy, business or personal, call the experts at Republic Tax Relief and stop IRS collections immediately. A+ rated with BBB and a 5-star rating with Yelp, this veteran-owned company has the fight you need to take on the IRS. Don't go it alone. Call their hotline number now, 800-539-3616. That's 800-539-3616. Check your eligibility for tax debt savings today. Call 800-539-3616. That's 800-539-3616. Or go to republictaxrelief.com.
Hey, Chris here to talk about CertaPro Painters. Are you still putting off that painting project? Well, I was too until I reached out to CertaPro Painters, and I can tell you the whole process was worry-free from the initial meeting to the final cleanup. CertaPro Painters brought a level of professionalism and efficiency that is unrivaled. Plus, they treated my property like it was their own. And get this, each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. That's right, they're a local business you can support. Schedule your free estimate online today at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C.
Information to keep you moving. Dependable traffic driven by Ambassador Midwest Floor Company. The best way to deal with in-home traffic. Experience more at Ambassador Midwest Floor.
I don't know who did that version of that Eagles song, but that's pretty good.
Is this not the Eagles version? No, it's not.
No.
I don't know.
That is it.
Oh,
pretty good.
you know what?
Yeah, she
I
meant
put-
to get the Eagles version.
I did mean to get the Eagles version. That's absolutely what I meant to do. Whoopsie.
No,
hey, that's all right. Mike
that's
liked
pretty
it, so roll with it.
I like it. Yeah. I'm not
Then
a big
it
Eagles
was
fan.
on purpose.
That's what she did. She did it on purpose.
I did it on
Don't even know who it was.
purpose.
I'm Mike Ferguson, by the way, in for Annie Frey, and I cannot comment to whether or not Annie Frey likes that version or not. But you can ask her tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll ask her.
We'll make sure of it.
Okay,
It's on the agenda.
Ryan, yeah, we had a call from Beth just a little bit ago saying Derek Chauvin released from jail about the timing. I had not heard anything about that, but you did find that during the break, right?
Yeah, let me pull that up. So Derek Chauvin, the former Minneapolis police officer charged with murder in the death of George Floyd, has posted bond and will be released from prison. So he hasn't been tried yet, but just on the temporary hold in prison, they had $1 million bond on him. And I don't know how he had $1 million, but he did post bond. So he's not currently in prison, but still awaiting the trial.
Yeah, and as far as timing goes, that could have been just when he found somebody, a bondsman or somebody else. Because even with a bondsman, you're putting up 100,000 if it's $1 million, unless it's $1 million cash bond. Where they
so I
want
don't
the
know
whole
how that
thing.
works. You know more about that than I do.
Yeah, I mean, if you go through like a bail bondsman, I think you can give the bail bondsman a certain amount, and then I don't know what cut they take when you show up to court or anything like that. But either way, somebody put up a lot of money to get him out. Whether or not that comes up tonight, I don't know. I don't know how you could criticize that, since why that would start any. I mean, I guess anything could start a riot again these days, but. That's just part of the process. You are innocent until proven guilty in court, even though everybody saw the video, everybody's made up their mind on this. But Chauvin being able to post bond just means he was able to access the money, and that's the same right that everybody else has. There's a lot of people that can't afford, I mean, if you put me in jail on $1 million bond, I'm sitting my butt in jail because I'm not coming up with $1 million. I don't know how I could do that.
I'll bail you out. I got a couple million just for that.
Just for
host.
For a rainy day.
I've got like $27 in my wallet. I would absolutely put it towards your bail. I
Thank
swear
you.
to God.
The problem is, Mike, I'm waiting for the day where Annie goes to jail, like just waiting. And so I'm holding all this money up for that day. Yeah. And so if that day doesn't come, though, I'll give it to you.
Okay. Yeah, I appreciate that. So, I mean, the amount of money I can help you with just means don't commit a big crime. Just commit a little one.
Right. Just little
where
crimes.
the bond would be that much.
And if it's a ton of little crimes, that's even more.
Let's all just become criminals, shall we? Sounds great.
Oh, man. Okay. So we've got Kim on the line here. Kim, we were talking about the debate tonight. Are you looking forward to it? And right after that, then interesting change in the training for police officers in Missouri. We'll get to that in just a moment. But Kim, you're on the air. Thanks for calling in.
Hi, I just have two quick comments. One is about the stimulus package. Now, Larry Kudlow was on with Brian Kilmeade today. He said the Democrats aren't saying what's in that bill. Taxpayer-funded abortions and illegal immigrant health care and state bailouts. So I can understand why POTUS is saying no in the Republicans, because that's ridiculous. And then number two...
They have to pass the bill so you can. Yeah, they have to pass the bill so you can find out what's in it.
Yeah, well, Larry said what they wanted to do was just do this part and help the people and everybody, like bail out the airlines and stuff like that, and then work on the other stuff. But the Democrats they don't never go out there and tell you what they want in the bill. They just act like the POTUS doesn't want to help nobody. But my other comment is on the debate tonight. I am absolutely 100 pumped up for it because Mike Pence has an articulate way of explaining how POTUS should be able to come across to Americans, and he does that very well, and they contrast each other well. And I don't think with Mike's or VP Pence's background in his religion, if POTUS was such a bad person, I don't think that he would be even VP with POTUS. That's my opinion, but I can't wait for the debate because I think he's going to crush her in a very, very nice and respectful way.
Yeah, Kim, appreciate the phone call there. Yeah, I mean, Donald Trump is the kind of personality that punches you in the mouth, and Mike Pence comes in and, makes you feel like you really understand why in a very clear way.
Yeah, I agree with that. And to her point, this might be the only time you ever hear me say this, but in defense of Nancy Pelosi, she's gotten away with doing this kind of stuff with spending bills for a long time. So why wouldn't she try to do this? Nobody ever holds her or the Democrats accountable for putting pork in bills. And both sides of the aisle do that. I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
But with these big spending bills, the media is not going to criticize her for doing that. So Republicans have to do what Trump just did and just say, absolutely not. It's not going to happen. Otherwise, they'll just get walked all over.
Yeah. Yeah. And then when I heard that the president had said, all right, no more stimulus talks till after the election, I thought, good. And then he's come back, as we said, but now I'm willing to negotiate. Let's just do these things that we supposedly all say we can agree on. Another round of $1,200 checks, more paycheck protection program and, the other stuff. So, yeah, I mean, if they can negotiate that, then both sides can run back to their districts and say, look what we got done for you, right before the election, which is really what every member of Congress and every senator wants to do anyway.
Right.
Here's what I'm curious what you think about this. Police officers on the Missouri side, and get ready to give me your thoughts on this. 314-241-9797 or 866-455-9797. The Post Commission, which is kind of the regulatory board that oversees, among other things, the training and certification of police officers in Missouri. They've now updated the rules, I should say, starting in 2022. Every police officer in the state of Missouri is going to have to annually take a 1-hour course in de-escalation techniques, which, okay, it's fine. The other one, though, is going to be an implicit bias training. Every single police officer is going to have to be taught about implicit bias. We've heard about this push in corporations. We've heard about it, at universities. We've heard some governments saying that they want their employees to go through it. It's been brought up with police officers. Black Lives Matter is a big proponent of this as well. And implicit bias training in and of itself is a really politically charged topic. And so now it's going to be just part of the curriculum that police officers in Missouri, whether it's a local police officer, a county sheriff, highway patrol, if they want to keep their post certification, they're going to have to complete this implicit bias training every single year. What do you think about that? And police officers, for those of you who are listening, give me a call. Tell me what your take is on this. Probably a lot of people that like the idea and some other people, skeptical of it. What do you think?
I haven't read the article, Mike, so maybe it says this, maybe it doesn't, but implicit bias against what?
Well, it's basically telling us that we are all biased and discriminatory towards somebody or something. And the idea is it's teaching you how to spot your own biases.
Yikes. Do police officers have enough time to in the moment, whenever something's happening and it's quick and it's all of a sudden, which is the majority of what they're signing up for the job. I just wonder what kind of change it makes. What kind of change will that training really have on the officers and how will it impact the situation?
They have to let you know, every police officer has to do, according to this article, 24 hours of annual continuing education training year. So it's part of that 24 hours.
Are we talking exclusively here about racial bias, or are we talking about economic bias? Because if you're in certain parts of town versus others, you might have bias that, well, these people don't commit as many crimes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
It's kind of vague.
Well, my guess is that it's all of the above, because and I'll be the one, and this is a little off topic. I don't want to go too far down the rabbit trail, but I think a lot of the problems we have that we call racial issues are at least in part class issues.
Well, that's why I said
race is obviously a part of it, but could be class as well. So I have never been through an implicit bias training because I don't think anybody voluntarily does it. I think it's one of those things the boss makes you do. And so I think it has more to do with saying, listen, you may think you're not racist. You may think you're not sexist. You may not think you're, just religiously bigoted, but you are. And we're going to show you why. And we're going to tell you how to stop being such a biased person. And that's at least how a lot of conservatives will portray implicit bias training. But whether you like it or not, your police officers are going to go through it. Could this be a positive thing? Or is this just another woke a woke PR virtue signaling move? You tell me.
You know what's interesting is that this issue is one where you'd think that there's a pretty clear political divide one way or the other. Now, I specific to police, I can't speak to, but I have looked into like broad studies of corporate bias training. And a lot of times that's sexual harassment, that's gender bias, age bias, stuff that may not be included in this police training. But overall,
it might, though, I don't know.
It might, yeah. Overall, they say that now that we've had probably 2 decades of this happening, this wasn't something that they were doing really in the 80s. I don't think this is something that probably came about mid 90s, later, maybe even more popular in the early 2000s, that all the data that they're getting says that these things actually have the reverse effect in an office setting anyway, that people go into them thinking, well, I'm not that way. And maybe some people are and they know it, but the majority of people go into these tests and they think I'm actually not these things. And so when you're forcing them on me and telling me that I am, I actually rebel subconsciously against them, and it makes it worse. So it's an interesting study of psychology to see how these things actually play out over time.
All right. Have you been through an implicit bias training in your workplace? I'd love to get your take on that. And also, of course, the big question right now is this something that's going to help law enforcement or help communities that are being policed in Missouri by having every police officer go through implicit bias and de-escalation techniques? Give me a call at 314-241-9797. You can also call me at 866-455-9797. I'm Mike Ferguson in for Annie Frey. Your calls, your thoughts on this, that's up next right here on FM 97.1 FM Talk.
You're listening to The Annie Frey Show. Talk lines are open now at 314-241-9797 or 866-455-9797.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling Studio. Furnace tune-ups are recommended each year to keep your heating system running efficiently and extend its life. Schedule your furnace tune-up and safety inspection and get in your comfort zone. Visit aircomfortservice.com.
They're lurking in your basement, in the garage, unwanted appliances.
But how do you get rid of them?
Most haulers charge you money, but not D&D Free Appliance Hauling.
Just call D&D at 314-249-2951 to schedule your free pickup.
D&D Free Appliance Hauling will come to your home and remove your unwanted washers, dryers, fridges, stoves, dishwashers, and freezers fast and free.
That's D&D Free Appliance Hauling.
Serving St. Louis County, St. Charles County, Lincoln County, and the surrounding areas.
When you want to get rid of your unwanted appliances, don't pay for it.
Call D&D Free Appliance Hauling and let them come pick it up free. 314-249-2951.
314-249-2951.
314-249-2951. D&D Free Appliance Hauling. 314-249-2951.
Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm here in St. Louis. I've been warning our clients that IRS employees are back at work since mid-July, and their collection efforts have ramped up. Well, sure enough, it looks like it's happening. So if you have unfiled tax returns, wage levies, bank levies, or tax liens, now's the time to call the Lance Drury Law Firm before the IRS calls you. Tax resolution plans are based off your current income. So if your current income is less than normal due to the COVID-19 pandemic, this is precisely the time for the Lance Drury Law Firm to help you. Your consultation is free, so don't put it off. The Lance Drury Law Firm focuses solely on tax resolution law. It's all we do. And if you have IRS problems, you have legal problems. Let us use our tax law resolution experience to guide you and work on your custom resolution plan. Call now. It's free and confidential. Call me, Lance Drury, at 314-260-6120 or go to Lance, D-R-U-R-Y law.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
If you're considering an annuity as part of your retirement plan, we need to talk.
Hi, I'm Bob Stockdale, Senior Vice President Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel, and host of On the Money, heard every Saturday morning at 11 on 97.1 FM Talk. Annuities can be a useful tool for some retirement investors, but not all annuities are created equal. Nearly every week, our team meets with clients who own complex annuities that don't suit their needs and in some cases actively undermine their retirement plan. Before you purchase an annuity, get a second opinion on your retirement plan today. When you work with us at the ClearPath Wealth Management Group, we're committed to providing you with guidance that's in your best interest, no exceptions. To request your free consultation, contact us at bobstockdale.com. That's bobstockdale.com. Again, that's bobstockdale.com. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
Hey guys, Glover here for my friends at throttlenet.com. So it's crazy time at ThrottleNet. They are IT geniuses, but they are a little bit nutty. Right now, they will pay you $250 for a conversation about your IT support because they value your time during the crazy pandemic. They'll give you the first 30 days for free, no charge for all of their services. And then they'll pay you another $1,000 if you decide to leave in the first 30 days for your trouble. They don't anticipate that you're going to leave, but if you do, they'll shake your hand, they'll put you back where you were, and they'll write you a check for $1,000. It is completely no risk, and they reward you for your time and for your effort. They are the best IT shop in the city, named number 1 5 years straight. They are good guys. Like I said, they are geniuses at protecting you, but they can communicate. They don't stare at their shoes. They look you in the eye, and they tell you what you need to know. ThrottleNet.com/971.
It's Decision 2020. And Radio.com has you covered. Download the app for the very best discussion on your favorite programs on 97.1 FM Talk.
I really appreciate that bump music because I'm not going to lie, I'm still in mourning.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys know me and Mark Cox, we're the metal rock guys in the building.
I get it, but were you listening to any of his recent stuff?
Well, the last couple Van Halen albums I thought weren't very good.
But you have heard them. So you answered my question.
I've heard them.
Okay.
Yeah. I listened to enough of it to make a decision, and I know this is sacrilegious to say this. I made a decision to not buy them.
When was the last time Van Halen released an album? Like how long ago?
Oh, it was just 2 or 3 years ago.
Wow.
Because remember Eddie Van Halen's son, Wolfgang Van Halen, is the new bass player because they booted Michael Anthony out and put his son in, and so they've done 1 or 2 albums with him as the bass player. And it was, I don't know, I want to say 2-3 years ago. Something like that. And they had, because they had a song, I'm just pulling off the top of my head, that was called Tattoo, and it sucked. And I heard that. And I heard one other song, and I was like, ew, this is just not the glory days of Van Halen. It's fine. I'm going to, buy some other albums from it. But the classic, I mean, yeah, Eddie Van Halen passing away yesterday of throat cancer. I mean, I'm not a celebrity culture person. I don't get starstruck, but I grew up on the guy's music, I mean, he was making music. I think their first album came out in 1978. And, I would have been 7 years old at that time. And I grew up on Van Halen's music from the, Diamond Dave era to Sammy Hagar. And you had to make me vote. I'm a Sammy Hagar Van Halen era fan more than David Lee Roth, but love them both. I've seen them in concert like 3 times. And that's just a brilliant musician, whether you're a rock fan or not.
2020 strikes again.
Yep.
Yeah, it's one of those things that he seemed like he should be not 65. He seemed like he should be 85 to me.
Right.
I was surprised by how young he was.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe there's a lesson in there about abusing alcohol for, 50 years and chain smoking for 50 years. But he did get sober the last couple of years, but he went through a lot of health problems related to stuff that he had to kind of fix in his own life as far as just abuse and things like that. I mean, he lived the rock star life of the 70s and 80s,
He lived
I
a
remember
life.
seeing the music videos, and it's funny how in your head, when you see somebody when you're a kid, you assume that they're already ancient, you know?
Yeah.
And so thinking now, I'm like, that's why I think he seems so much older, or should have been so much older now, because I remember him from being a kid. And when you're a kid, everybody's old.
Right. Exactly. All right. So the topic at hand, though, and maybe Katie, can I put in a request for like some more Van Halen bump music?
Sure. That request
let's
has
do
already
that.
been met because
Oh,
I
all right,
have some more
yes.
coming up. Surprise.
Yes. All right. So we're going to go right to the phone lines here. I'm going to start with Kirk in a second. If you're just joining us, here's what's happening is the Post Commission, which is in charge of the certification and continuing education of police officers in the state of Missouri, they've updated the rules, and starting in 2022, part of all the continuing education the police officers have to do every year includes classes on implicit bias training and de-escalation techniques. And so the question is, good idea, bad idea? Have you been through any implicit bias training, and what did you make of it? Let's start with Kurt here. Hey, Kurt, thanks for calling in. You are on the Andy Fry Show.
Hey, Mike, how are you this afternoon? Thank you for all you guys doing your show.
Yeah, you got it, bro. I'm doing great. Thanks for being part of it.
Yeah, so listen, I've got about 35 years on in law enforcement, so I tell people I started when I was 4. But with all that aside, I've been through a lot of training, a lot of de-escalation. I used to be an instructor at the police academy, and I'm just not sure that this is going to be enough training to change somebody's biases or prejudices. I think a lot of us have that internally, and I think sometimes those come out when in a heat of the moment situation. But it'll be interesting to see, and kudos to them for trying to make this go forward and do something positive.
Okay, now do you think it's something that maybe is more PR than actual effectiveness with police, or am I hearing from you that this actually could address something that needs to be addressed?
Well, I think given the current culture and the climate of that culture, I think that it's probably more PR related, if you want my honest goodness opinion. I mean, any training that I've ever been a portion of, I've always tried to be open to it and receptive, and try to grow and learn from it. But I'm not sure that what they're trying to do here is gonna be a win-win, but I hope that it is.
Okay, Kurt, let me ask you one more.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well,
Ryan,
well,
go ahead.
Kurt, is this something that you said you've been in law enforcement for 35 years? Has this not been a part of the training up until now? Because it seems like I've heard that this has been around forever.
Well, absolutely. And that's a great point. I'm glad you brought that up because, yes, it definitely has. And I mean, especially in the part in regards to de-escalation and that type of stuff. I mean, you're taught sensitivity training and every other type of training that you could even imagine. So you usually get just a little bit of a piece of the pie to kind of send you out in the field and learn from there. And I don't know that this is anything that's like brainstormingly new. I think that it's kind of an older concept, and I think that it's been around for a long time.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask, Ryan. So yeah, hey Kurt, appreciate that perspective, especially from being in it the whole time. No, that's great, Ryan. That's exactly what I was going to ask as well. So we got that covered. All right. Once again, 314-241-9797. Got Pat on the line. All right, Pat. Implicit bias training, de-escalation training.
Hi, I'm so happy to talk to you. Listen to you every day, all day. I have two thoughts. That Sean Hennedy talks about a defense class that he takes ongoing. I can't think of what it's called, but he said that he can reach out, grab somebody's thumb, and put them to their knees, and they're going to go running like crazy. I think the police officers should be trained in that and be able to defend themselves. And then also, I heard in Israel, they use something called skunk water. They use the scent of a skunk in water, and they take it out on fire trucks, and they spray the crowd down, and the crowd goes running, and they cannot wash it off themselves for a day, and it lingers in their hair, any hair that's on their body, for a week, and they can't stand to be around anyone. They can hardly stand to be around themselves, and I think that's just both excellent things. What do you think?
I think I appreciate the call, Pat. Yeah, that's an interesting technique. Of course, I mean, when I look at the video of a lot of like these Antifa protesters, I'm not so sure that a stink water bath wouldn't be an improvement. I don't know.
That's not what I was expecting you to say.
I'm just saying, you look at those pictures and I'm thinking, yeah, I don't want to be around the violence of the Molotov cocktails, but good God, some of these people look like they haven't had a bath in a while.
Look, if you tell me about a product called skunk water, I'm probably going to be interested in it no matter what it is.
You're thinking squirt gun, super soaker, skunk water, go on the attack.
Yes. Yeah. You know what? It is fascinating though, to be honest and real about it. The different techniques that you're hearing that throughout the world that people use to disperse riots or riot ready crowds. There's things that we don't do that other nations are doing that fascinate me as to either why they do them or why we don't do them.
Right. And with Israel, of course, they cannot afford to mess around at all.
Yeah, that's
but you're right. I mean, what was just described by Pat would never, I mean, a law enforcement agency would think about it, and the ACLU would sue them for even thinking about it. Last time I was filling in for Annie a couple weeks ago, remember we talked about this like heat ray gun.
Gabe described it for us. Yeah.
Right. And it made you hurt real bad, but it didn't injure you. And so it basically kept the billy clubs and, batons and everything else away from protesters. So everybody was safer, but we would never allow that in our country. So to Pat's point, I mean, I think there's a lot of techniques that would work great that we've just decided we would not tolerate in America.
Have you ever asked yourself, I know we're almost out of time, but have you ever asked yourself, how did America get to the point that we are the most litigious society in the world? Because obviously the legal system exists in every other nation too. They have their own laws. How did we get to the point where no matter what you do, there's signs posted because people are worried about you getting sued for stepping on the wrong stone at a park? We have litigation on everything possible in this country.
Maybe it's because we started electing a bunch of lawyers to Congress and state legislatures.
Isn't that the case everywhere though? I mean,
I don't know.
I went to Iceland a few years ago, and I was shocked by the beauty of it, but also shocked by the fact that there were no handrails and signs on anything. You could go anywhere you wanted and nobody cared. I'm like, this, if any portion of this were in the United States, it would be covered in A, condos, and B, signs.
Wow. Man. All right, let's sneak in one more phone call here. Then I know we've got a shout out to give from the studio here. Hey, Gary, thanks for calling in. You're probably at the last word this hour on the question of implicit bias de-escalation training. And it says here you are a police officer.
Yeah, I have been for 45 years. I started in 1976 in St. Louis. I came from a small town in Illinois. I had no implicit bias whatsoever, and it's offensive that they're calling it implicit. They're inferring that when you become a policeman, you have a bias against somebody. We went through cultural diversity training back in the 70s, 80s. This comes up every 5-10 years. Every time there's some controversy about this, it's not bad training to have, but it's hard not to develop biases. When you're dealing with people that don't want to obey the law. I always do the analogy of being a policeman is like playing in a football game where one side has to follow all the rules and the other side doesn't have to follow any, and you expect us to, win a game, let alone, make a touchdown. So, the training doesn't hurt, but, a lot of it, the bias is survival skill in a lot of instances.
Yeah. All right, Gary, I've got to get to the news here. Appreciate that perspective. Coming, I think there's probably a lot of people who agree with Gary on that. By the way, just ahead, Deroy Murdoch, you see him on Fox News, you read his work in National Review. He's going to be joining us. This whole thing with, Trump and denouncing white supremacists is just kind of silly. He's going to kind of set the record straight on that. And we got a shout out to give, right?
Yes, to Charlie. Charlie, good luck on your surgery today.
Charlie.
That is Annie's son. They are going into the surgery right now. So Charlie, all of our prayers and our thoughts are with you. Go kick that surgery's butt.
Absolutely. And
got it.
when you get that third arm attached, man, you're going to be able to do so much more.
We're rooting for it.
It's the 20th anniversary of 97.1, and we're celebrating 20 years of great Dave Glover Show moments with Michael's Flooring Outlet.
The guy walks up and I said, I'm going to have pancakes. He goes, we have two sizes. We have the entree and we have the side. I know the difference between big pancakes and little pancakes, yet I feel like I need to give him something. So I do this. I sit back as if a sommelier had just given me the choice between Camus Reserve and Opus One. You know what? Why don't you just pick for me? Swear to God. And he goes, it's really your call. And so I do this. Just give me the big ones. And if I can't eat them all, I leave what I don't finish. And he just goes, seems like a plan. And he walks off.
Listen. Mike of Michael's Flooring Outlet. Proud to be Dave's first live endorsement and being part of so many sweet memories for the past 20 years. Thank you again, St. Louis and the Dave Glover Show. 97.1. Rock on. Check me out. IGotFloored.com.
Your energy needs are changing. That's why Ameren Missouri isn't waiting on the future. We're building it with a smart energy plan, advancing thousands of projects across the state. Here in St. Louis, we're adding new clean energy sources and installing new composite poles to better withstand storms. Moving Missouri closer to a future of energy centered around you. That's energy at work. Learn more at amerenmissouri.com/plan.
Thomas Helbig of the Retirement Advisory Group has helped so many people in the Annie Frey Show family and then in the 97.1 family get their retirement on lock. And that means when you are nearing retirement, if you are 59 and a half or older, or maybe you're recently furloughed, did you know that you can now roll over your 401k tax-free and protect your nest egg from any market losses? There are some tips and tricks that Thomas Helbig has, and then an entire philosophy that's going to help you as you near retirement protect yourself. You've worked your tail off for the money that you have saved up so far. You need to make sure that it's going to be there for you. And the Retirement Advisory Group, they're the folks that can help you do that. Thomas Helbig works with 97.1 customers pretty much only now because so many of you have gone to seek out his services. And I completely understand why. He is such a kind person. And I know that when you call him and you sit down with him for a free consultation, you'll understand what I'm talking about. 855-755-1555. Schedule a free consultation today. You can go online at retirementkey.com.
KFTK FM Florissant, K254CR St. Louis, driven by the Bommarito Automotive Group, 97.1 FM Talk, a radio.com station.
COVID hotspot. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. Wisconsin's governor just activating a field hospital with more than 500 beds as a surge in coronavirus cases strains the state's capacity. Meantime, the White House physician says President Trump continues his COVID recovery and has been symptom-free for the past 24 hours. He's been busy on the phone at times, talking to Treasury Chief Steve Mnuchin earlier today about possible standalone bills to give more coronavirus relief to small businesses and the airlines and more stimulus checks to individual Americans.
He's just again rebounding from a terrible mistake that he made yesterday, and the Republicans in Congress were going down the drain with him on that.
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi telling ABC's The View the president regrets pulling the plug on her talks with Mnuchin for a comprehensive bill. The president accuses Pelosi of playing politics and negotiating in bad faith. Vice President Mike Pence testing negative again ahead of tonight's debate in Salt Lake City. He and Senator Kamala Harris will have additional safety measures in place 12 feet apart on stage with plexiglass shields for their only debate. Fox News Democracy 2020 coverage of the vice presidential debate tonight. Watch on the Fox News channel. Listen on the Fox News app. Hurricane Delta could reach the Gulf Coast by Friday as a Category 3 storm, possibly hitting Louisiana, where a state of emergency is in effect.
Tropical storm force winds are possible as early as Thursday, leading into Friday morning.
New Orleans Mayor LaToya Cantrell, Delta made landfall near Cancun earlier today. Just getting word, the now former Minneapolis police officer charged with murder in the death of George Floyd has posted a $1 million bond. Derek Chauvin is the one who was kneeling on Floyd's neck in the viral video that sparked protests around the world. America is listening to Fox News.
What do you get when you talk to a Dell Technologies advisor? You get someone who understands there's an art to listening, who's able to hear more than what's being said, and can provide tailored small business solutions that make you feel truly heard.
I understand. Let's get started.
For advice on everything from laptops to the cloud and solutions powered by Intel vPro platform, call an advisor today at 877-ASK-DELL.
Listening to this Allstate commercial about savings might be the hardest thing about getting those savings. Save for simply becoming an Allstate customer. Save more for adding DriveWise. And save even more for driving safely. Visit allstate.com or contact your local agent for a quote today. Allstate. Minimum effort, maximum reward.
Not available in every state. New customer savings based on early signing discount. DriveWise is an optional feature. Savings vary based on how you buy. Subject to terms and conditions. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling Weather with Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
All about sunshine on this Wednesday afternoon and all about very warm to hot temperatures for this time of year. 88 for the high, the record 92 from 1963. Tonight, clear skies, 58 for the overnight low. Thursday, partly sunny, a little bit cooler, but still above average, 79, 80 degrees. Friday, partly sunny, 81. The weekend's quiet, partly sunny, and temperatures in the upper 70s to near 80. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Decision 2020 is here at 971talk.com/election. Brought to you by Hanson's Tree Service. Contact Hanson's Tree Service. Our work is tremendous. 97.1 FM Talk.
What if you could build a six-figure retirement income in just 5 payments? You heard right. In just 5 payments, set up a six-figure retirement cash flow for as long as you live. There's a retirement crisis in America because the pension system of old has been raided and destroyed, and Social Security is already running out of money. Most Americans are shocked to find out they need over $2.5 million to have $100,000 in retirement. A new approach is required to solve this crisis. That's why this revolutionary 5-pay retirement program was released, allowing everyday Americans to use bank money to create a retirement cash flow without relying on Social Security or pensions. Even people who are on track have shifted money to this new strategy because it accelerates the amount they'll have at retirement or can allow them to stop working years sooner. So if you're over 50 and want a bigger, better retirement in just 5 payments, call Wealth Education Group now at 1-800-283-9595 to see if you qualify for this brand new program. Plus, as a free bonus, you'll get the 5-pay retirement guide and video. Call 800-283-9595. 1-800-283-9595. That's 1-800-283-9595.
So you've heard me talking about national rarities, and I wonder how many of you have kind of had your mind on that thing that you have in the basement, or maybe in the attic, or maybe in the drawer that you don't really look in because it doesn't have anything that you use in it. You don't ever open that drawer to get something out that you need. It's the drawer for things that you don't need to have, but maybe the things that you didn't want to throw away or give away or get rid of at some sort of cheap sale because it has value to you. The stuff inside of that drawer you think might have some value. Call National Rarities and they can tell you. It's 888-787-1112. That's 888-787-1112. And when you call National Rarities, make sure you mention Annie when you do, because they're going to give you the value for your item and they're going to give you an extra 10% because they know that you heard about them on this show. So call 888-787-1112, mention my name, and get an extra 10% more for your items. Gold, platinum, sterling, silver, diamonds, jewelry, watches, coins, currency, firearms, artwork, paintings, autographs, antique toys, and more. If you've got something that you want to see the value for because you're interested in selling, call National Rarities today. Online at nationalrarities.com.
Is your siding dated and showing signs of wear and tear? Do you worry about your friends and neighbors visiting your home when it looks like it needs repairs? At Lakeside, we feel you should be proud of your home. For the last 23 years, we've helped thousands of homeowners just like you update their home so they could love the look and feel of their newly sided home. James Hardy Fiber Cement Siding gives you the look of a brand new home, along with the confidence that will last a lifetime. Call Lakeside Renovation and Design today at 636-978-5000. Get interest-free financing for up to 1 year.
Attention St. Louis homeowners. Are you looking to sell your house without all the stress? Chris Buys Homes in St. Louis can buy your house cash and close on your timeline. No commissions, no repairs, no appraisals, no showings, no headache. Call Chris now, 314-782-7000, or go online to chrisbuysHomesSTL.com to get a free no-obligation cash offer for your house. Behind on payments? The tenant stopped paying the rent? The house needs too many repairs? Not a problem. Chris buys houses in any condition and deals with any situation. There's a reason why Chris Buys Homes is the most trusted home buyer in St. Louis. Go online to get your offer today. chrisbuysHomesSTL.com or call 314-782-7000. That's 314-782-7000.
You can listen to 97.1 FM Talk online anytime. Just go to 971talk.com, where you can listen live and even rewind. Or download the app for your phone at radio.com. The Annie Frey Show is sponsored by Forensic IT, the tech experts that find the root cause of your technical problems. ForensicIT.com.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what you're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
Right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
For goodness sake, kid, keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
Kind of the big debate tonight. I actually think this is going to be more interesting from, an intellectual perspective. I don't think it's going to be a battle royale the way that it was a week or so ago between Donald Trump and Joe Biden and Chris Wallace. By the way, I'm Mike Ferguson. It's 1:08. Thank you for being a part of the program. I'm in for Annie Frey today. Obviously, Annie will be back tomorrow. But one of the things that's likely to come up, I mean, I'm sure we're going to hear about COVID-19. I'm sure we're going to hear about economy. I suspect we're going to hear a lot about, law enforcement and reform, but there's going to be probably plenty of questions about race and racial division in the country. And I would not be surprised if Kamala Harris references or says something to the effect of Donald Trump was given an opportunity in that debate a week or two ago to denounce white supremacy, and he would not do it. Okay, well, joined now by Deroy Murdoch. You know him from Fox News, as a Fox News contributor, also from National Review, and you can find his writing just all over the place. Deroy, good to talk to you. It's the first time we've had a chance to chat. I'm really looking forward to this.
Mike, first time, hopefully not the last time.
I absolutely agree, 100%. Well, that was drilled into the ground after that debate, and I bring that up now, not just because I'm a week or two behind in the news. I suspect that there could be some inference, if not outright accusation, that Donald Trump just would not denounce white supremacists. And what does that say about him? Would you be surprised if that comes up? I just wouldn't be surprised.
No, I wouldn't be surprised. In fact, if I were Mike Pence, I definitely would get ready for that question. That the Democrats have been pounding on that drum since he came down the golden escalator back in 2015. They bring it up over and over and over again. And it's funny, he spent so many years as one of the most visible people in this country, including his, 10 years or so, hosting The Apprentice, I think, which is the #1 show on NBC for a decade or something. And you never heard any accusation from anybody that was racist or prejudiced or anything like that. He had many black celebrity friends. Oprah Winfrey loved him. And it was only when he announced he was running for president that all of a sudden he became reincarnation of David Duke, or the Grand Wizard in a blue suit, or whatever term you want to use. And they repeat this complete lie over and over and over again. Despite the many times he has denounced racism, denounced white supremacy, denounced the KKK, et cetera. And he also has a very clear and very impressive record of doing very positive things for Black Americans, which, by the way, Obama and Biden had 8 years to do, but managed not to pull off somehow. I guess they were too busy sending money off to the Ayatollahs in Iran and taking care of other things like that. I hope that Vice President Biden points out, for example, if Donald J. Trump were in fact such a racist, why did he provide a steady stream of revenue for historically black colleges and universities? Why did he set up the First Step Act, which is a criminal justice reform measure? I believe something like approximately 3,100 predominantly black former prisoners who were locked up for nonviolent drug offenses have been allowed to go outside, go back to their families, go back to their communities, go back to their loved ones, and restart their new lives, such as Alice Johnson, who was at the Republican convention. We have something like 80, I think the number is 8,700 opportunity zones, mainly in predominantly minority, many black and many low-income neighborhoods, where something like $75 billion in outside private investment is coming in to create jobs and growth and American dreams. If President Trump really hated black people, he wouldn't do any of that stuff. He would focus on many other things. So that's just an example of the sorts. Oh, I might have. How could I forget? 3.5% are the lowest black, Hispanic, and Asian background American unemployment in American history. Very impressive things.
So,
if he really hated blacks so much, he wouldn't have made those things happen.
Well, why is it that that's not the narrative and that's not the debate as to what has been done? Because the headlines, and maybe it's just the Twitter world that we live in, but why is it that that's not what we're talking about other than on conservative talk radio?
Because if the left-wing media let people believe that Trump was something other than, as I heard somebody say on Tucker Carlson's show about March of 2017, right after 2 months after President Trump was sworn in, they just quote, worse than Hitler, not equal to Hitler, worse than Hitler, just 6 or 7 weeks into his presidency. That's been the narrative that these people have been repeating nonstop. And if they talked about these positive things he's done for black Americans, if they talked about the fact that he repeatedly has spoken out against white supremacists, that he has denounced anti-Semites, most famously in Charlottesville, people said, oh, he referred to them as very fine people. They always give the first sentence and not the second. He did say there were very fine people on both sides in Charlottesville protesting quietly about taking down the statue of Robert E. Lee. What they don't mention is the second sentence, in which he said, and I'm quoting, I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis and the white nationalists because they should be condemned totally. He also called them, quote, rough, bad people, unquote. They never mention that second sentence, only the first sentence. The first sentence reinforces the idea that he's some sort of a crazed white nationalist, anti-black racist. The second sentence completely decimates and annihilates that lie. And so they never quote the second sentence. They just come up with this concept that he's against black people, against Hispanics, whatever it is, say that over and over and over again. And any evidence to the contrary is locked up, I assume, somewhere under Fort Knox.
Deroy, I'm reading your article right now on Fox News about this topic. We've talked about this topic quite a bit. Annie put out a tweet with the many denouncing phrases that he's used to denounce white supremacy throughout the last 4 years and before. My question for you is there anything that he could have done or can do to get rid of this narrative, or is it they were going to make it no matter what?
Look, he has had, by my count, at least 20 verbal pronouncements where he's denounced white nationalism, neo-Nazis, KKK, etc., from when he was started running until now. Maybe there are even more. And they're actually video. Grabian, which does a wonderful video archive work, and YouTube both have videos, and you can click them on my foxnews.com article on the opinion section today. And you can watch those videos. He's on camera saying this. This isn't something he whispered, in the dark behind some curtains. This is on camera. I'm against these people. I denounce the KKK. We have to stop anti-Semitism. He's done these at ceremonies. And I don't know I guess he could stand up on the mall with a megaphone and just scream it out loud for half an hour. But I imagine even that wouldn't get on the news. The left-wing media wants nothing out of Donald J. Trump than for him to go back to Trump Tower and get out of the White House. And they're not going to talk about anything positive. I believe Harvard has studied this, and something like 95% of the coverage on Trump is negative. Now, even if you hate Donald Trump and think he's an awful guy, you got to think he's done something more than just, 5% good things. There have been numerous episodes, most notoriously when he invited to the White House Rabbi Israel Goldstein, who was at the Poway synagogue, which was shot up by an anti-Semite. One of the parishioners was killed. The rabbi had a couple of his fingers shot off. He brought him to the White House. He welcomed him. He hugged him in public. Had him give a speech where the rabbi said that he's healing because of what President Trump has said. He called him a, quote, mensch par excellence, beautiful, warm words between them. And Trump denounced anti-Semitism yet again. You know how much coverage that got on the ABC, CBS, and NBC nightly news that night? Zero coverage, none. And the most horrible thing about that is, at that time, you had two messages need to get out. You need a message of comfort for Jews and Gentiles who love them, that this is okay, you'll be fine, we love you, we're going to take care of you. And he did a message of condemnation against these anti-Semites so they wouldn't go and attack another synagogue and shoot at more Jews. That message was delivered by the President of the United States and censored by ABC, CBS, and NBC, which did nothing other than keep Jews and Gentiles who love them more agitated, concerned, and scared, and not give the anti-Semites the word of condemnation. Stop this, don't do this again, I don't like it. If you think you're trying to please me, I'm not pleased, so stop. Stand down. They didn't get that message. And what the big networks essentially did there was act hand in hand and in cahoots to make life easy for anti-Semites and miserable for Jews than Gentiles who love them. That's how evil these people are.
We're visiting with Deroy Murdoch. You know him as a Fox News contributor, also writes for National Review. Deroy, one of the things that, yes, we expect all kinds of crazy accusations, frankly, from both sides, although what's volleying from the left right now is just over the top. But I'm not going to say that the rights, that our side hasn't ever done something outlandish close to an election. But to me, one of the biggest damaging parts of this isn't just that Donald Trump's being called names and being accused of racism and everything. It's how this seeps into the everyday conversation between the rest of us real Americans all over the country who have taken up sides in tribalism, taking our cues from these accusations and media coverage and politicians' words. What about how we should be handling this on a person-to-person in our communities, in our families, in our churches? How should we be dealing with all this mindset of, if you support this candidate, then you're supporting white supremacists, or if you support this candidate, you're supporting, an anarchist, promoter. And how should we be? I guess the question comes down to is, how do we filter out the nonsense and talk substantively with each other, given this environment that's being created by politicians and media?
I think the best thing on which people can focus is that this is not a systematically racist country. Yeah, there are racists around, and they're going to be a racist here 500 years from now. You're never going to get rid of all the racists. But the idea that this is an institutionally, systematically racist, where black people are hunted down on the streets, et cetera, is a total lie. And I heard Michelle Obama repeat it last night, and shame on her. This is the same supposedly systematically racist country that elected her husband and made her first lady of the United States, not for one term, but for two, and did so comfortably. This is the same supposedly systematically racist country where you had Eric Holder and then Loretta Lynch in control of the Department of Justice. For 8 years, black people ran the DOJ. And before that, under G.W. Bush, you had the State Department run by Colin Powell and Condoleezza Rice for 8 years. If this were such a deeply racist country, do you think the white folks who ran this country would let black people occupy the White House, the Department of Justice, and the State Department for 8 years? I don't think so. I think they would have been blocked by people with torches and burning crosses and told, turn around and get away from the State Department, get away from the DOJ, get away from the White House. And that's just those examples. We've had successful people in business. We've had successful black people in business, in entertainment, in the academy, in science, in medicine. And I would say we need to focus on black success. I use the term black success matters, and talk about the many successful black people we've had from Frederick Douglass and Booker T. Washington forward. They've been pivotal to this country, people we've loved across the board, black, white, Hispanic, et cetera. And there have also been successful Hispanics, successful Americans of Asian background. And I'd focus on those successful people. And again, ask the question, how do they manage to succeed if this is truly such a racist country? The left doesn't want to focus on that. They want everyone who's black to think, if you walk outside, you're going to be shot by basically the KKK, except they wear blue uniforms and wear gold badges. And if you're white, then you've got privilege and you ought to be ashamed of yourself. And this is the corrosive sulfuric acid that they are injecting into our body politic daily. I would reject that. I tell them they need to stop and focus on all the great things we did together as blacks and whites and Hispanics and Asians and others in this country until Obama and company showed up and basically started splitting this country in two.
All right, Deroy Murdoch, find him at foxnews.com, National Review. I've really enjoyed the conversation, Deroy. Thanks for the perspective.
My pleasure. Great to talk to you. Good luck. Thank you.
And just ahead here, our good friend Tim Jones, former Missouri Speaker of the House, of course, 97.1 FM talk personality, on Sunday night's going to be with us. Let's preview this VP debate. I cannot wait to hear what Tim's got to say about it. I think I know who he's going to root for, though. Just saying. All right, I'm Mike Ferguson. In for Annie Frey.
Run with you tonight, I'll take you on a moonlight ride.
The Annie Frey Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
There's someone I used to see, but she don't give a damn for me.
Mark Cox here. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call Thomas Helbig with the Retirement Advisory Group at 314-993-9494. He'll show you how to participate in the market gains without ever losing a penny. Thomas is the official financial advisor of the Mark Cox Morning Show.
Are you ready for what's next? It's likely coming. More food shortages, power outages, grocery stores closed, social unrest. Ask yourself, do you have enough food and supplies on hand to last at least 30 days? Most Americans do not, but you can. Avoid the panic of the last-minute rush. Order your 4-week supply of emergency food today from mypatriotsupply.com. Starvation or dependency on the government are your only alternatives. Avoid those and the pain of being unprepared. Go to mypatriotsupply.com right now. Build your emergency food supply with meals that last up to 25 years in storage, shipped discreetly to your door. Folks that know what's coming are using today to prepare. There's time for you to do the same. That's mypatriotsupply.com, the original Patriot Preparedness Company. mypatriotsupply.com.
With spending more time at home, you may be noticing the scuffs and faded colors on your walls, or the cracked, peeling paint on the outside of your home. Let the pros at CertaPro Painters take care of that project you've been putting off. You can trust CertaPro Painters to get the job done right and safely. Plus, each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. They're a local business you can support. Schedule your free remote or on-site estimate today at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C.
Has this ever happened to you? I bought football tickets for my husband's birthday, and now I'm in a football bubble. All I see online are articles and ads about football. I hate feeling like I'm being manipulated. I downloaded DuckDuckGo, and I saw a difference right away. With one download, you can search and browse privately, avoiding trackers all for free. It's that simple. Take back your privacy online with DuckDuckGo. Privacy simplified.
Hi, it's Michael Mohan with Community Mortgage. With all the bad news out there, it's easy to miss the good news. Mortgage rates are at historic lows, making now a great time to buy or refinance a home. My customers are locking in the best rates in a generation. Now is the time to use the equity in your home to cash out for a remodel, pay off high-interest credit card debt, or rid yourself of the dreaded PMI. During these volatile times, you need an experienced local loan officer working for you. Call me, Michael Mohan, at 314-336-6050. I'm here in St. Louis, and when you call, you talk to me. Whether you are purchasing or refinancing, I want to help you save money on your home loan. Michael Mohan at Community Mortgage, 314-336-6050. Online at communitymortgagestl.com.
Community Mortgage LLC, NMLS 250-353-224-143.
What's holding you back from solving your tax problems? If it's cost, know that the longer you wait, the more expensive it'll be. Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm in St. Louis. Tax resolution doesn't have to be expensive, and waiting year after year to resolve your tax problems can be extremely costly. Interest and penalties on your tax bill won't stop until you take control. So take the first step now and hire a tax resolution attorney to help you. Call me, Lance Drury. I'll tell you in advance an affordable fee which includes costs and expenses that works for your business and family. Your first visit to the Lance Drury Law Firm is free and confidential, so you have nothing to lose. But the longer you wait, the more interest and penalties you'll pay. Call me today. Remember, if you have IRS issues, you have legal issues. You need an attorney. You need us, the Lance Drury Law Firm. Call me, Lance Drury, at 314-260-6120 or go to Lance, DRURY law.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
The crossroads is coming, and America will decide to go left or right. Stay connected. 97.1 FM Talk. Information with perspective. And your home for Decision 2020.
Had a pretty good discussion going at the beginning of the program over what we're expecting in this debate tonight between Senator Kamala Harris and Vice President Mike Pence. We're seeing people saying, hey, where's the watch party? Well, looks like Katie, Annie Frey show is going to have a watch party.
We
tonight,
are
right?
going to. So we are going to have one on our Facebook page as well as our YouTube. So facebook.com/Annie Frey Show. But Tony Colombo will actually be doing post-debate coverage. So I believe, Ryan, if I'm not mistaken, 97.1 will be carrying this debate over our airwaves. And then Tony Colombo will be coming in after to do some post-debate coverage with some of our friends, guests. He'll have the whole entire lowdown.
Yeah, if you tune in at 8 o'clock, we will run the debate on the air from then through whenever it ends. Tony Colombo takes over. They're going to do some post-show analysis, but the whole time, like you said, our show, the Annie Frey Show, will be doing a live stream, watching it together and talking and stuff.
And as part of that post-debate assessment and breakdown is going to be the one and the only Tim Jones, of course. Who joins
Another great night for Donald Trump.
No collusion, no obstruction.
This is Armageddon.
You know, I brought you Outlander.
Brought to you by Arrowhead Building Supply.
Mr. Speaker, good to talk to you again.
Michael, Ryan, Katie, great to be on with all you all. Yes, we've got Veep steaks tonight for sure, and it's going to be a humdinger, I bet.
Yeah, Tim. So obviously, you know, we know where you're coming from on this, and I've got to say though that I do think that this debate is going to probably be a 180-degree different type of debate tonight. My guess it's going to be reserved. It's going to be polite. They're going to respect each other's times. They're going to take some shots at each other verbally, but they're going to be done probably in a very polite manner. I think we might actually see a lot more substance in this one than we saw in that debacle a couple weeks ago.
Well, I agree that Mike Pence will be polite. I don't think Kamala Harris intends to be polite at all. And the reason I say that, Mike, is look back to her debate performances. She wasn't polite on the DNC stage. She called Joe Biden everything but flat out racist, and basically implied many times that he was a racist because he was not in favor of, or he was in favor of, or not the busing issue. Remember the DSEG issue? She pointed out all his flip-flops that he had on racial issues over his past 47 years. Donald Trump making the line very famous and true that Donald Trump has done more for everybody, minorities included, in the last 47 months than Joe Biden did in 47 years. Joe Biden was a prominent speaker at the funeral for the famous KKK Grand Poobah, or whatever the heck they call him. I don't know anything about that operation. Joe Biden apparently does. He knows quite a bit about the KKK because Robert Byrd was apparently an idol to him and Hillary Clinton. So it's amazing how much Democrats have gotten away with their implicit racism. They were the party of Jim Crow. They were the party of slavery. The Republican Party was the one party that emancipated the slaves and has stood for individual choice throughout the generations. You know, the Democratic Party likes to talk about choice on one issue and one issue alone, and that's the right to kill babies. But the Republican Party has been the party of choice in education, the choice of the choice party for economic liberty and freedom, the choice party when it comes to criminal justice reform, and Donald Trump has delivered on all those issues. Now, Kamala Harris, yeah, I will completely agree with you. She's an incredibly skilled, intelligent politician who has accomplished great things in her life. Heck, she's a U.S. senator. But where is she from? She's a big fish in the small pond of left-wing lunacy of crazy California. You know, if you're willing to go that far off the deep end of left-wing liberalism, you can become famous in a state that's famous for left-wing liberalism. She did not make it to Iowa. She had a failed presidential run, never exceeding 2% of the vote. So what I think she's going to look for tonight, and the left-wing media will jump on this all day. I'm going to predict the headlines tomorrow. Kamala Harris is going to have some wing-dinger zinger that she's going to throw out at the right time tonight, maybe two or three of them, that she is hoping becomes the headlines of the debate. So all the substance that I believe that will be talked about tonight, all of the meat that's going to be put on the bones of the last 4 years of the Donald Trump presidency that I think we're going to hear about tonight, they'll be completely overshadowed because of everything that Deroy Murdoch talked about in your previous segment, the massive media malpractice that has gone on in this country where Donald Trump is routinely hated on a daily basis by most of the liberal media complex. And it's acceptable, apparently. by all the national ivory tower talking heads. So I do think we're going to have a much more substantive debate tonight. I do think that Pence and Harris will get into some of the meat of these issues. I think that Mike Pence will never lose his cool. He's the most unflappable person on the planet I've ever witnessed. I think he will have more substance than Kamala, because I do think she'll be looking to deliver those one or two really cool lines that the media will not be able to wait to gush over in the post-debate analysis and to put above the fold tomorrow in the papers.
It seems to me, Speaker Tim Jones, that one of the big things we're going to watch for tonight is that this is the first debate that she's been a part of since her last debate in the Democratic primary when she was attacking Joe Biden. So she will have to run a complete reversal from some of the last things she was saying on the stage about the person she's now running with. And in light of that, Tim, do you think she has more to either lose or gain tonight than Pence does?
Well, yeah, Ryan, it's a great point. Which Kamala Harris are we going to hear from tonight? Are we going to hear from the tough on crime prosecutor from early in her career? Are we going to hear from the far left-wing liberal attack Justice Kavanaugh at all costs Kamala Harris that we saw just, I think, embarrass herself in the hearings on Capitol Hill 2 years ago? Are we going to see the Joe Biden is yesterday's news and that he's a racist and a segregationist and his ideas are not the ideas of today's far left-wing liberal Democratic Party Kamala Harris? Ryan, which Kamala Harris are we going to hear? Are we going to hear the Medicare for all Kamala Harris that she launched her campaign on back in, man, it seems like a zillion years ago, doesn't it, fellas? Back in February of a year ago or so? Or are we going to hear the one that backtracked on all those issues? Ryan, you're right. Which Kamala Harris are we going to hear? Is she going to toe kind of this, kind of move to the center? No, we don't want to defund the police. Yes, rioters are bad. Joe Biden that we've seen. Joe Biden has definitely moved to the center after his debate performances on issues of illegal immigration, of urban violence, of defund the police. Where's Kamala Harris going to come down? On the other hand, Mike Pence has been saying and trumpeting, maybe pun intended there, the same general policy positions his entire life. Before Trump, during Trump, post-Trump, Mike Pence is a constitutional Midwestern heartland conservative, right? He stands for the flag and freedom, God, the flag and freedom, probably in that order in a sense. He is going to talk about all the taxes they cut that help spur businesses to the biggest economic boom ever in our nation's history. The fact that Donald Trump is doing that again, he's rebuilding the economy right before our very eyes. He's cut regulations. He's put constitutional conservatives on the federal bench to the tune of well over 200 judges, 3 picks to the Supreme Court, peace in the Middle East, right? I mean, these Trump things are Pence things, because Donald Trump, a lot of us had questions about where he was ideologically. He has become one of the biggest conservative leaders of our lifetime, maybe second only to Ronald Reagan. It's been remarkable. So Mike Pence will be able to speak about these things very genuinely. They'll come from his heart. And I call him the laundry list guy. You're going to hear the hundreds of accomplishments of the Trump-Pence administration. A lot of stuff you did not hear last week. And I think hopefully this is my biggest criticism of Wallace, Trump, and Biden from last week. We didn't hear about what's going to happen over the next 4 years and what the vision was from the two frontrunners. I hope we hear it from the vice presidential candidates. It'll be a very stark difference if we get to that point.
We're visiting with Tim Jones, who you can hear right here on this radio station, 7 to 9 p.m. every Sunday night. Tim, we just got a couple minutes left here in the program. One of the ways I think people should be looking at this tonight, you may agree or disagree, let me know. You always assume the vice presidential candidate could be one heartbeat away from the presidency. God forbid if something terrible were to happen or somebody were to resign or whatever the case is. But for a couple of different reasons. One is we forget how old Joe Biden and Donald Trump are, although Donald Trump comes across as a guy in his 50s. He's actually in his mid 70s. So both have had, health issues over the years. And so there's that to keep in mind. But at the same time, both Mike Pence and Kamala Harris could easily 4 years from now, maybe even 8 years from now, be squaring off as presidential nominees. So to me, if we watch this debate, and I hope that you do watch the debate, I think we should be looking at it as through the lens of actual presidential candidates, because either one of these people could end up being the president of the United States someday.
It's truer words never spoken, Mike. And you do have you've got a pretty big difference in the generation gap here. You have the two front runners in their mid to late 70s. Although, as you point out, Donald Trump is famous for saying, "I'm a young, vibrant man." One of his famous sound clips from the last few years, and he is constantly talking about how healthy he is. He could probably stand to lose a little weight, but hey, the guy doesn't drink, he doesn't smoke. He seems to have the energy of 5 people, and maybe sometimes too much, tweeting at 2 a.m. But he does seem to be in pretty good shape. But let's remember, he did have a bout with COVID. He seems to have kicked it in the keister pretty well. And I think that made the liberal media, who were on death watch the last 72 hours, absolutely completely light their hair on fire that Donald Trump dared to take on coronavirus and apparently beat it back pretty well. And that's probably a testament to the fact that, not being a smoker, his lungs are probably pretty healthy. Not being a drinker, his vascular system is probably in pretty decent shape. So, he seems to be fine. But yeah, he's 4 years old. Joe Biden is 78. And we all, unfortunately, we're flesh and bone, right? We're human beings. As much as some of these political figures seem to be superhuman with the gravitas they have and their big personalities, they're humans too. And, when you get in your late 70s, your 80s, older, sometimes people who are otherwise completely and utterly healthy, sometimes God calls us home and says, okay, that's enough of that stage of your life. You're going to have a different one now. So it could happen when you get up into these, octogenarian years. And so the next generation, the vice presidential picks, are much younger, both of them. And they could easily take that one heartbeat away adage that could become very well true. So I think, because of what didn't happen last week with the lack of meat being put on the bones of the political philosophies, and more importantly, where each of us would take us as a country, and the fact that either one of these people could be future leaders of their national parties, maybe sooner than later, it's extremely important that we all watch this debate tonight. Listen to it on 97.1 FM Talk. Listen to the post-debate analysis with all of us here talking and others, all of our other friends, because this is going to be a monumental and consequential vice presidential debate. I don't know if I can think of one that was more important in my lifetime.
All right, Tim Jones, at Speaker Tim Jones on Twitter and on Parler. Good to talk to you, Tim. Looking forward to hearing your assessment of it after it's all said and done.
Mike, Ryan, Katie, thanks. Great show. Enjoyed listening. And thanks for everything you do for the messaging movement. I think our voices are more important now this year than they ever have been before.
Amen,
and
Tim.
And the voices I want to hear from is everybody in St. Louis right now, 314-241-9797. Are you looking forward to the debate? What do you hope to hear from Mike Pence, or what do you hope to hear from Kamala Harris if you're on the left? Let's talk about it. All ahead. I'm Mike Ferguson, in for Andy Frey on 97.1 FM Talk.
You're listening to The Annie Frey Show. Talk lines are open now at 314-241-9797 or 866-455-9797.
You're listening to The Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling Studio. In addition to heating and cooling, Air Comfort Service also offers indoor air quality, water heater, and AeroSeal duct sealing services. Get in your comfort zone with aircomfortservice.com.
You want to retire soon, but everyone keeps telling you to wait until you're 65. After all, that's the age that you qualify for Medicare and you're close to full retirement age. I'm Marvin Mitchell, president of Compass Retirement Solutions. In my new book, Retire Early, the 9 critical decisions when retiring before 65, I discuss proper planning to help make early retirement possible. When to take Social Security, what to do with your 401k, healthcare, how to maximize retirement income, and much more. Get a complimentary copy of Retire Early by calling 1-800-743-8510. That's 1-800-743-8510. Can you retire early? Call 1-800-743-8510 for your copy of Retire Early, the 9 critical decisions when retiring before 65.
Investments and services offered through Compass Retirement Group, a registered investment advisory in Missouri and Illinois. Compass Retirement Solutions is not affiliated with the U.S. government or any governmental agency.
Need a break from the sound bites and the talking heads? Do you want information you can actually use? Information that'll change your life for the better? Then listen to the Del Walmsley Radio Show. Del will show you how to retire in 2 to 5 years. Your age doesn't matter. Turn off the pundits and turn on the passive income. Tune in to the Del Walmsley Radio Show.
Tune in to the Del Walmsley Show, where the hype ends and the help begins. Weeknights at 7 on 97.1 FM Talk.
If you are looking for a home warranty, please check out my friends at Upkeep Home Warranty and Maintenance. You know, that maintenance part of their title is extremely important. Most home warranty companies out there want to deny your claim due to lack of maintenance. They claim you haven't been taking care of your equipment over time, so they don't have to help you out. Well, at Upkeep, they completely eliminate that worry by sending their own technicians out to your home 4 times a year to do the general maintenance for you. And if you ever need service done, they will either repair or replace your equipment, and that work is also being done by an Upkeep employee. It's not a third-party contractor trying to upsell you. Their plans are extremely affordable. You can even divide your payments up over the 12 months of the year. And when you use code DGS, you get $100 off your service. To check out all of their different home warranty plans, go to their website, upkeepstl.com. That's upkeepstl.com.
Hey guys, Glover here for my friends at throttlenet.com. So it's crazy time at ThrottleNet. They are IT geniuses, but they are a little bit nutty. Right now, they will pay you $250 for a conversation about your IT support because they value your time during the crazy pandemic. They'll give you the first 30 days for free, no charge for all of their services. And then they'll pay you another $1,000 if you decide to leave in the first 30 days for your trouble. They don't anticipate that you're going to leave, but if you do, they'll shake your hand, they'll put you back where you were, and they'll write you a check for $1,000. It is completely no risk, and they reward you for your time and for your effort. They are the best IT shop in the city, named number 1 5 years straight. They are good guys. Like I said, they are geniuses at protecting you, but they can communicate. They don't stare at their shoes. They look you in the eye, and they tell you what you need to know. ThrottleNet.com/971.
At Spire, we know the value that natural gas brings to the communities we serve, from a hot shower after a long day to the warmth and comfort of a cozy home. And we know that in any year, some of us struggle to make ends meet. But this year isn't just any year. If you're struggling to pay your natural gas bill, we're here to help. Our dedicated team of community support specialists is ready to help identify the assistance program that's right for you. To learn more, call us or visit us online at spireenergy.com/assistance.
The Dave Glover Show.
I'm glad the president's getting better. I really, really am. That's fantastic. That drive-by thing was embarrassing.
Weekdays at 3 on 97.1 FM Talk.
Down the street. 146. Good afternoon. I'm Mike Ferguson, in for Annie Frey. The number here, 314-241-9797. It's interesting to me that in so many different cultures, the spectacles, and here too, tends to be sports, something action related. And here we are in this country, everybody looking forward to 2 people having a conversation and a debate.
That's where we're at.
That's a lot that's really positive about that. We also have the comfort of knowing it's probably not going to be the awful debacle that was a week ago or so between, the mess of Donald Trump versus Joe Biden. So we're going to see something that I hope will respect our intelligence, although I'm sure both will Both will use a lot of catchphrases, and there'll be things taken out of context. But at the very least, we're going to be tuning in to two different sets of ideas that completely oppose each other. So are you looking forward to the debate tonight between Kamala Harris and Mike Pence? What do you want to see from one or both of them? And of course, you can always get that conversation just rolling with the Annie Frey Show's watch party tonight. And what are the details on that again?
Yeah, you can follow along with us. We're going to probably start the coverage of it on our end on Facebook.com/Annie Frey Show, probably around 7:30, 7:40. And then we're going to be live streaming the whole entire debate. I'll be there. Ryan will be there. Annie will be there. I don't know about Whiskey Slushes. They might be there too. And we're just going to have a good time, just like we did last week watching the presidential debate. And then, of course, if you guys don't have access to Facebook or YouTube, which you can find us youtube.com/Annie Frey. Listen to us on 97.1. I think that we're going to be covering it there. We're going to be broadcasting the entirety of the debate, and then Tony Colombo will have post debate coverage.
Yeah, and a lot of different people are going to be assessing that. And by the way, you don't have to be on the same political side as all of us here to give us your thoughts and opinion on this now or during the show. I'm all about the people calling in and challenging stuff. I love it. Okay, so let's step back from that for just a second here. Found an interesting story in USA Today. The headline is "Smoking on TV. Attorneys General call on Hollywood unions for help kicking the habit." Now, they're not just asking the actors unions to stop smoking, although I'm sure they would love for them to do that. But the National Association of Attorneys General is asking Hollywood talent unions, the actors and everybody, basically to stop smoking on camera. So the characters, they don't want them doing what they're calling glamorizing smoking, saying basically it's a bad example. And one of the quotes in the story here is from California Attorney General Xavier Becerra. Says, "Far too often young viewers see their favorite characters vaping or smoking on screen and are influenced to start using tobacco. It is time for streaming companies and the creative guilds to do better by our children in the midst of a respiratory pandemic." There it is. "Tobacco use is all the more dangerous. We need all hands on deck to protect the lives of our children and ensure a healthier America." One, I'm always a little skeptical when government wants to step in and protect me from myself. But just as a public service campaign, there's nothing wrong with it. I don't know that, I don't want there to be any threats of saying we want to regulate, how you portray things during a creative process. But does what happens on TV, whether it's smoking or drinking or otherwise, does it really influence young people that much? I'm actually of the mind to say, yeah, it probably does. I just don't know that I want government in there regulating that aspect of script writing or acting.
I'm sure it does, but I've got a respiratory disease and I don't smoke. I never have. I don't like it. I don't like being around it. But at the same time, I'm so sick of this talking point. It hasn't come up for a few years, so it's interesting that you bring it up. But it used to be one of those big issues that people talk about a lot. I'm just so tired of vilifying smoking, and I hate smoking. I'm just sick of it. I don't know why, but I am.
Well, and don't you think it's a discussion that should be happening with, I know a lot of kids are not like, gee whiz, let me ask my parents if I can smoke a cigarette. That's not happening. I know they're getting it from kids at school. I know they're finding different avenues because that's what happens. But this is something that I think it's a big teaching lesson and a learning lesson for parents and their kids to have open communication. And I do think that it does affect kids when they see things like that on television, because look at what Tony Colombo said yesterday about Kylie Jenner posting about people voting. I think he said that Kylie Jenner, she posted a picture of her in a bikini and said, here's how you register, go vote. And she gained something about 50,000 people registered to vote just because of that post alone. So, social media icons, celebrities, they all have a part to play in influencing kids. But again, I just feel like it's a family thing. It's much like other heavy topics. It might need to be something that the parents step in and are like, hey, if you're watching shows where people are smoking cigarettes, these are all the downfalls of it. This is what you can learn from not doing it.
Oh, okay. A couple of points. First of all, the fact that that's what convinced tens of thousands of people to register to vote is really sad to me. just on an intellectual level. So I'm just going to say
but
that.
the people looking at that post are 18, 19, 20, 21
Yes.
year olds, new
Yes.
voters.
Yeah, exactly. So that scares me that's the type of thing that influences that many people in the country, but also to the point of what you're talking about with this being a family thing. Okay. So, my parents and I had conversations about, alcohol and drugs and smoking and all that kind of stuff. I mean, I grew up in a Baptist preacher's house, so believe me, they were one-way conversations. That's just how it was back then. But at the same time, there's nothing wrong with a PSA campaign, a public health campaign. Hey, please don't, whether it's just say no, whether it's, drinking and driving, whatever the case is, even if politicians are involved saying, please don't do this, that's one thing. But to your point, Katie, it's got to lead back to an opening for kids and parents or teachers or social groups or somebody to organically just decide, yeah, this isn't what we're all about. I mean, drinking and driving. I'm actually old enough to remember when everybody thought it was kind of funny back in high school, and now, man, you are a jerk. And a lot of that has to do with just how we changed in the culture. But you don't change that top down from the elected and appointed officials. That's got to come from an organic place.
When I was a teenager, there was ads that were PSAs at the front of, it seemed like every DVD that I rented. They were called truth ads. Do you remember these?
Oh yeah. They reinvented those whenever I was growing up too.
Well, maybe it was just a continuation because maybe I wasn't a teenager and I was a little older and I'm remembering it wrong. But those things, for some reason, and this may be the conservative in me coming out when I was even 19, 20 years old, whenever I saw them, I was just like, look, I don't care what message you're trying to give me. You're Hollywood, and I just don't trust you. So I was never going to smoke. I have cystic fibrosis. I am never going to smoke.
Mhm.
So that wasn't the issue, but it almost had the reverse effect where I wanted to do something to rebel against these powerful people trying to get me to get in line with their message.
One of the things, and just again, I'm reading this USA Today article, among the proposals, and this is from the Attorneys General Society or National Association of Attorneys General. They say, among these practices, we have proposed banning tobacco imagery in all future original youth-rated or youth-targeted content with limited exceptions. And they want this basically to be an internal Hollywood ban on things. We've also asked streaming companies to recommend and promote only tobacco-free titles for children and families. I don't know what that means. We have challenged the companies to mitigate the historic and cumulative impact of watching tobacco imagery in movies and programs by running strong anti-tobacco spots, which, when you look at how young people tend to respond to those types of campaigns, all you're about to do is make smoking cool again by having a bunch of politicians say, we need to go on the offensive and tell them how uncool and bad that is.
Yeah, I don't know what you think about this, Katie, but doesn't this feel like an issue, like a bygone issue almost? Like this was something that 10 years ago was a big deal, but now we're like, hey, Netflix, can you stop with like the child porn?
Yeah.
That seems like a bigger focus for us now than smoking, yet we're still here talking about it.
Yeah, totally. It seems like something, it seems like, I mean, I know for me, I grew up on something like this. I mean, we had Dare. I'm sure you guys had Dare too. This is like, I don't mean to downplay smoking because it is really bad and it affects people's lives. But it almost seems like something that's so small in the grand scheme of thing, as you just highlighted, Ryan. There are big, big things happening in this world, and kids are now getting involved in heavy politics, which is another 15, 16, 17-year-olds are now becoming like these social justice warriors now.
Yeah.
So it just feels like a thing of the past to kind of be concerned about. Are they picking up a cigarette when they're outside like protesting?
Even though it's still not good, it's just like we have bigger fish to fry now or something.
Yeah.
As long as they have a mask on, that's all that matters, right?
Yeah, just don't smoke through your mask somehow.
Precisely. Yeah. I mean, again, it's not a matter of we disagree on the message. It's what's the best way to do it. And to tell Hollywood, listen, we need you to change the titles and not allow this in your scripts, and let's agree to micromanage how we put together these shows. Just has not always given us the best outcome. All right. Still ahead here. Hey, Illinoisans, looks like you've got a big, great big progressive tax issue on the ballot. Is the ballot language telling you the truth? We talked to the good folks over at Illinois Policy just ahead.
Everybody wants the economy to grow, right? But how do you feel about officials in effect giving your tax money to developers for their private projects? In the past 15 years, the city of St. Louis alone has diverted $709 million to developers in tax subsidies or abatements. That was money that would have gone to basic services like schools and public safety. Even worse, numerous studies around the country show these kinds of subsidies don't produce the promised jobs and growth. There's nothing wrong with developers wanting to build new shopping centers or company headquarters, but why should they get tax subsidies to do so? If it's a good business idea, great, but let them assume the risks as well as any possible rewards. It's time to reform economic development subsidies in Missouri. Check out our 2020 blueprint, Moving Missouri Forward at showmeinstitute.org. The Show Me Minute has been brought to you by Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
Hi, I'm Ryan Kelly with thehomeloanexpert.com. It's already October and the leaves are falling. If you're still thinking about that perfect home, it's not too late. And with mortgage interest rates in the twos, you have so much more buying power. At the Home Loan Expert office, we can get you pre-approved and locked in the same day and have you closed in 30 days or less. Enjoy the holidays in your new home and get pre-approved today at thehomeloanexpert.com. The Home Loan Expert LLC, NMLS number 1326241.
What if you could build a six-figure retirement income in just 5 payments? You heard right. In just 5 payments, set up a 6-figure retirement cash flow for as long as you live. There's a retirement crisis in America because the pension system of old has been raided and destroyed, and Social Security is already running out of money. Most Americans are shocked to find out they need over $2.5 million to have $100,000 in retirement. A new approach is required to solve this crisis. That's why this revolutionary 5-pay retirement program was released, allowing everyday Americans to use bank money to create a retirement cash flow without relying on Social Security or pensions. Even people who are on track have shifted money to this new strategy because it accelerates the amount they'll have at retirement or can allow them to stop working years sooner. So if you're over 50 and want a bigger, better retirement in just 5 payments, call Wealth Education Group now at 1-800-283-9595 to see if you qualify for this brand new program. Plus, as a free bonus, you'll get the 5-pay retirement guide and video. Call 800-283-9595. 1-800-283-9595. That's 1-800-283-9595.
It's open enrollment season, and MediShare is a Christian healthcare sharing ministry that saves most families about $500 a month. Google MediShare and see if it's a right fit for you. And check out the podcast from the Associated Press, Ground Game, hosted by AP's digital editor, Megan Crane.
The Annie Frey Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe. KFTK FM Florissant, K254CR St. Louis, driven by the Bommarito Automotive Group, 97.1 FM Talk, a radio.com station.
The Gulf Coast could get hit again. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. The entire state of Louisiana could be in the path of Hurricane Delta, which could slam the Gulf Coast Friday night as a Category 3 hurricane after landfall earlier today near Cancun.
We are prepared. We're ready. We understand what we need to do and how we need to do it. But I'd be lying to you if I said that we didn't recognize that this is an extremely busy season.
Captain Will Watson is the Coast Guard's New Orleans sector commander. Parts of Louisiana still recovering from Category 4 Hurricane Laura in August. More than 6,000 evacuees from that storm remain in hotels. The Louisiana and Alabama governors declaring states of emergency as Delta approaches. An update on President Trump's COVID recovery.
President Trump saying he feels great in a statement topping an update by his physician, who says the president has been symptom-free for over 24 hours. Fever-free for more than 4 days, and hasn't needed or received any supplemental oxygen since initial hospitalization.
Fox's Lillian Wu. This is Vice President Mike Pence, who continues to test negative, prepares for his only debate with Senator Kamala Harris tonight in Salt Lake City. 2 ISIS terrorists known as the Beatles for their accents and infamous for beheading videos now face U.S. justice, charged in the deaths of 4 American hostages, including Kayla Mueller, an aid worker. FBI Chief Christopher Wray using the moment to send this message.
The FBI and our partners, both here and overseas, will continue to relentlessly pursue these terrorists and anyone who chooses to support terrorist organizations like ISIS no matter where they are and no matter how long it takes.
The two suspects face life in prison if convicted. They were extradited from Britain after the U.S. Attorney General agreed to take the death penalty off the table. America is listening to Fox News.
What do you get when you talk to a Dell Technologies advisor? You get someone who understands there's an art to listening,
Sure.
who's able to hear more than what's being said, and can provide tailored small business solutions that make you feel truly heard.
I understand. Let's get started.
For advice on everything from laptops to the cloud and solutions powered by Intel vPro platform, call an advisor today at 877-ASK-DELL.
Right now, Allstate has almost as many ways to save as there are types of music. Save for being a new customer. Save more for adding DriveWise. And save even more for driving safely. Visit allstate.com or contact your local agent to get a quote. Find out how much you can save today. Allstate. Now that should be music to your ears.
Not available in every state. New customer savings based on early signing discount. DriveWise is an optional feature. Savings vary based on how you buy. Subject to terms and conditions. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling Weather with Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
All about sunshine on this Wednesday afternoon and all about very warm to hot temperatures for this time of year. 88 for the high, the record 92 from 1963. Tonight, clear skies, 58 for the overnight low. Thursday, partly sunny, a little bit cooler, but still above average, 79, 80 degrees. Friday, partly sunny, 81. The weekend's quiet, partly sunny, and temperatures in the upper 70s to near 80. This is 97.1 FM Talk Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Selecting a financial advisor is one of the most important decisions you will make heading into retirement. Hi, I'm Bob Stockdale, Senior Vice President Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money every Saturday morning at 11 on 97.1 FM Talk. Choosing a financial advisor is a critical step in planning for your retirement. You want to find an advisor you can trust is working in your best interest with the experience to do the job well. Providing guidance solely in your best interest is foundational to our team's approach. And with over 90 years of combined experience, you can have confidence we have the depth of knowledge to help you navigate important financial decisions. If you're retiring in the next 5 years or need a second opinion on your current plan, contact us today for a free consultation. To schedule your free retirement planning consultation, contact us at bobstockdale.com. That's bobstockdale.com. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
Attention! If you're in debt to the IRS and frustrated with your options, for a limited time you can call and quickly check your eligibility for the Fresh Start programs offered by the IRS to reduce or even eliminate your tax problem. Through this special toll-free hotline number, you can find out in minutes if you qualify for these life-changing debt reduction programs. If you're in a payment plan with no end in sight, have unfiled tax returns, under audit, have a wage or bank levy, business or personal, call the experts at Republic Tax Relief and stop IRS collections immediately. A+ rated with BBB and a 5-star rating with Yelp, this veteran-owned company has the fight you need to take on the IRS. Don't go it alone. Call their hotline number now, 800-539-3616. That's 800-539-3616. Check your eligibility for tax debt savings today. Call 800-539-3616. That's 800-539-3616. Or go to republictaxrelief.com.
With United Healthcare Medicare Advantage plans, there's so much to take advantage of, like $0 copays on hundreds of prescription drugs.
Wow.
Pick up at your local pharmacy or take advantage of free delivery. To learn more, visit AdvantageWow.com.
Wow.
That's AdvantageWow.com.
$0 copay may be restricted to particular tiers, preferred medications, or mail order prescriptions during the initial coverage phase and may not apply during the coverage gap or catastrophic stage. Free delivery with preferred mail order pharmacies.
Wow.
Jay Farner here, CEO of Rocket Mortgage. Making the right financial decisions has never been more important. When you turn to Rocket Mortgage, we can help guide you to those right decisions now, when they matter most. Mortgage rates are near historic lows, so now is a great time to call 8338-ROCKET. And if you need some extra money, a cash-out refinance could give you that financial boost you're looking for. Call today at 8338-ROCKET or go to rocketmortgage.com to learn more.
Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030.
It's cash for clunkers when you upgrade with Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. We'll haul away your old garage doors and give you instant credit toward the new one. What are your old clunkers worth? $150 for a double garage door, $100 for a single door. Cash in on your old opener and entry door too. Don't miss Cash for Clunkers in October at Overhead Door. Trusted by homeowners in St. Louis since 1926. To schedule your free estimate, call 314-781-5200 or schedule online at overheaddoorsstlouis.com. Overhead Door Company of St. Louis, the genuine, the original.
97.1 FM Talk. Sean Hannity, Dave Glover, Annie Frey, Brian Kilmeade, Mark Cox. That's the lineup backward. Reminding you that you can rewind anytime at 971talk.com. The Annie Frey Show is sponsored by Forensic IT, the tech experts that find the root cause of your technical problems. ForensicIT.com.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what you're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
Right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
For goodness sake, kid, keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
So big decision Illinois voters are going to make here coming up, and that has to do with increasing your taxes. In just a few minutes, we're going to talk to Austin Berg from Illinois Policy Institute. He's got some thoughts on that, and there's actually a lawsuit over the ballot language. Is it misleading? We'll get the update on what's happening with that. I'm Mike Ferguson, in for Annie Frey today. It is 2:08, and Ryan, before we get to that conversation, and Katie, still have some folks, with some comments on the whole smoking on TV and streaming shows, because we were just talking a minute ago. A bunch of attorneys general in the U.S. are basically trying to work with, the directors and the actors and the screenwriters and basically saying, okay, let's limit, how much we put tobacco on the air, and let's have all these PSAs. And the conversation we were having basically is, man, it's been a while since we've had that come up, but when we have these top down efforts to basically try to lower the use of some kind of vice, sometimes has the opposite effect. And I think we all agreed that the best way to take on something like, young people smoking or vaping now is to try to make it as organic of a conversation as we can, and as local, as in like in the home, as possible,
instead of glorifying it through shows. And I think you and I, Mike, at least are like, why is the government coupling itself? Why are attorney generals in states right now focused on what Hollywood is doing? Don't they have anything else going on?
Yeah, let's see what Carrie has to say about it. Hey, Carrie, thanks for calling in. You are on the air.
Thank you for taking my call. Yeah, I was calling because I think what they're trying to do, it's a noble effect, but at the same hand, you've got TV shows that shows, people smoking joints or what's borderline pornographic and, cursing each other out and just graphic murder. And it's like, and they're not doing anything about that. Like, that's an okay thing, but, smoking a cigarette is so bad. I mean, it's one's just as worse as the other.
Well, the obviously the violence and the murder, and there's been a lot of over the years. It's probably been several years, and Carrie, appreciate the phone call. That does popular culture affect behavior in people? I think it's pretty safe to say, yeah, it does. I mean, what we make cool and what we don't in movies and TV and music and whatnot. I mean, just in case you think that, oh no, just because you see someone on video doesn't mean you're going to do it. We had to go on a conversation and an effort specifically to tell young people to stop eating laundry detergent because they kept seeing it on media. So yeah, it does affect people. It's just, the argument to me is when politicians step up and say, we're going to make this uncool by working with Hollywood. Well, that's probably one of the best ways to make it cool and have the opposite effect of what you're you're looking for. At least that's my worry. The
It's a
unintended
great point from Carrie too, that we're simultaneously legalizing marijuana and vilifying tobacco. Okay.
Yeah. And by the way, and I've got enough libertarian in me. I'm fine with legalizing pot and bringing it above board. I'm not going to go use it. I'm not going to buy it. It's not my thing. I reserve the right to point and giggle at you, but it doesn't change that. But I think it's just silly that marijuana has been illegal all this time. And I get there's a lot of people who have very good faith disagreements on that. I just think it's ridiculous that we're putting people in jail, or we have been over something like marijuana. But anyway, okay. So we got Austin Berg from Illinois Policy Institute on the line. Austin, good to talk to you again. It's been a while since you and I have chatted. I bet you it's been a year or so.
Yeah, good to hear your voice. How's it going?
Oh, pretty good. Okay, so big tax increase on the ballot in Illinois, but the point at hand, the debate at hand right now, isn't just over whether people should vote yes or no. It's, if I'm understanding this right, and correct me if I'm wrong, it is whether or not the ballot language is going to tell voters the truth.
Yep. And the other battle, very similarly related, is a battle over whether this is a tax on retirement income or whether it opens the door. The answer to the latter question is absolutely it does. And for some insight on the former, we joined 3 Illinois retirees this week challenging the ballot language that people will see, you and I will see in our vote by mail ballots, or even when we go to the polling place, that is supposed to give people a fair and accurate reading of what this constitutional amendment actually is. But people were shocked when they got ballots this week and last week to find the text of the amendment isn't even on the ballot. Imagine going to vote for a U.S. constitutional amendment, and they don't even give you the plain text of what is changing in our U.S. Constitution. That's exactly what's happening in Illinois. Instead, what we're voting on is highly biased political language that is that's read as an explanation. It's framed as an explanation of the question, but it reads like a TV ad in favor of the tax.
Yeah, Austin, I'm really glad that we're talking about this, because I got my sample ballot printed out and I was mainly doing it for this reason, to see what this amendment read like. At the top of the page, and I don't know if it'll look like this when we get into the booth, but it says constitutional amendment, and the rest of the text doesn't say anything. The first sentence says the proposed amendment grants the state authority to impose higher income taxes on higher income levels, which is how the federal government and how the majority of other states do it. I mean, that's not language that sounds bipartisan at all. That sounds like, here's all the reasons you should vote yes on this. But you're saying that might actually not be what we read once we get into the booth?
So what you just read is the only thing people will see. They don't see the actual text of the amendment. And what the amendment actually does, I can read it for you, what the actual amendment is. It's one sentence that they add, and it says the General Assembly shall provide by law for the rate or rates of any tax on or measured by income imposed by the state. That's what the constitutional amendment is. It says nothing about fairness. It says nothing about higher rates on higher income people. It says nothing about lower income tax rates on lower income people. All it does is unlock the Constitution to allow them to tax us in new and higher ways. And that should be especially concerning for retirees.
But Austin, you said there's a lawsuit challenging this. I mean, is it something that we should expect is actually going to change it, or are we too close to the election?
So we actually have precedent for this suit. In 2008, you guys might remember there was a question on the ballot whether we should have a constitutional convention in Illinois. And there was a lawsuit by the Chicago Bar Association challenging that language, and they were successful. There was a corrective notice issued to voters, and they got it at the ballot box. So we're asking for the same thing. Just give voters the truth. You don't have to cancel the election. You don't have to delay the election. Just tell people what the heck they're voting on. It's the bare minimum.
And of course, then the big question is, obviously, do you vote for or against it? And Austin, can you read that sentence again as to what the amendment would do, or what it actually says?
Yeah, so it takes away a couple sentences that provide our flat tax protection. That's the one that says you can only charge one income tax rate on people. Mm-hmm. And it adds this sentence: the General Assembly, that's lawmakers in Springfield, shall provide by law for the rate or rates of any tax on or measured by income imposed by the state. That means they can charge any tax to any income group in Illinois that they please.
Well, I mean, this is the Illinois legislature. I mean, you can trust them not to abuse it, right?
Yeah, exactly. Don't you trust Mike Madigan to tell you what's fair about stuff? So, and yeah, that's the essential point here. This isn't a vote on fairness. It's a vote on power. Should they have these new powers? And they promise that they're only going to use this new power to tax the wealthy. But look at their record on tax promises. We had toll-free in 1973. That's the earliest one that I love. We were going to have no toll roads in Illinois by 1973. Then we had a 1989 income tax hike. It was supposed to be temporary. They promised it would be. That promise was broken. 2011 income tax hike supposed to be temporary. Now it's permanent. That promise was broken. It's one thing if they keep the promises half the time. It's 100% of the time they break these promises. And people shouldn't. And now they're promising they're not going to go after retirement income when every other progressive tax state, all 32 of them, tax retirement income in some form. And that's the next promise that they'll break.
Austin, I don't know if you guys at Illinois Policy have been running data or seeing polling or anything like that says what the chances of this passing are. When I was looking at the notice that's in this specimen ballot, it says that 3/5 of those voting on the question or a majority of those voting in the election would have to overturn it. Explain how this works and what the chances are of actually happening.
Yeah, so what people need to know is that every single vote is going to count. You should tell every single senior you know to vote against this. It's against their interest. It's going to lead to a retirement tax. The reason every single vote's going to count is because every poll that I've seen shows that this is going to be neck and neck. And that's very encouraging for people who are against this tax because Pritzker has been outspending everybody on TV ads. So the fact that he hasn't been able to convince people in mass to trust him on this is very encouraging, but every single last vote is going to count. So if you don't want this new power in Springfield, you need to vote no.
Austin, obviously, the dire straits of Illinois finances are the joke across the country because of, just the reckless spending, the high taxes, running people out of the state like crazy. But what's the argument for there's a better way? I mean, how do you fix what's happening? Because the way it's being presented from what I can see from across the river over here is that, hey, we're in terrible shape. We simply need more money to fund our obligations for the government. We've got to raise taxes. It's just what we have to do to fix the problem.
So the problem with that is it doesn't take into account what we were just talking about, which is the broken promises. 2011 income tax hike. They said they were going to pay down our unpaid bills, that we're going to fix our pension problem. We just need a little more. Trust us. We just need a temporary income tax hike. Oh, sorry, it didn't work. Got to make it permanent. Then yet again, 2017, we just need this tax hike to fix the budget impasse, to close our deficit, to help fund social services. They pass it. We're in worse shape than we have ever been. And it's because when you give them more money without reform, they just spend more money. So Illinois spending for the last 20 years is up something like, I believe, in the range of 45, 46%. But revenue is up in the 30, 40% range, which is very, very healthy. But spending is up even higher. So that's why we can't balance a budget, is because if you keep giving people more money without demanding reform for how the state spends the money, they're going to waste it. And that's what's happened for decades in Illinois.
We're visiting with Austin Berg from the Illinois Policy Institute, and we've got to get to a break here in just a second. But Austin, where do people find? I mean, you all have been researching this. You're involved in the lawsuits in it. They want to read up about it, ask you questions, get in touch, get involved. What's the way to do it?
Go to IllinoisPolicy.org, and on Facebook, you go to Illinois Policy and our activist group, the Lincoln Lobby.
Lincoln Lobby. All right, Austin, good talk to you again. Thanks for the update.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
All right, a lot of talk these days of criminal justice reform, and a matter of fact, reforming our bail bond system is among those topics that get pretty heated as well. We've got just ahead Horace Cooper from Project 21, the network of Black conservatives in America, and you would probably be surprised to hear him say, "Wait a minute, bail reform? No, not like that. Terrible idea." We'll find out what it means just ahead, right here on the Andy Frey Show.
Taking that time right behind my back.
You're listening to the Andy Frey Show. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
My mind behind a cigarette.
I didn't feel so well, so I searched my symptoms on Google, and now I'm being followed by uncomfortable ads. I hate feeling like my personal data is being bought and sold. I downloaded DuckDuckGo and saw a difference right away. Take back your privacy with DuckDuckGo.
Hey guys, Clever here from my friends at Window World, and let me just take a moment to say thank you to Window World. I'm not sure how many of the 20 years they've been with me, but most of them. They are great people, just great guys, and have been very good to me and taking care of thousands of DGS listeners. So Window World, thank you for the bigger part of 20 years with the DGS. What I love about Window World is the simplicity. Honestly, it's just they make it so easy. There are other replacement window companies in town. We're one of only 2 in the nation that have a good housekeeping seal of approval. Any award that you can win within our industry, we have won. The prices are very modest, very affordable. We give you a lifetime warranty and a lifetime guarantee because we know that our windows are built like a tank. You can depend on saving about 1/3 off your heating and cooling bills 12 months out of the year. Mention me for 18 months, same as cash, 314-993-1800 or windowworld.com, 314-993-1800, windowworld.com. Hey guys, Glover here. If you are nearing retirement or already retired, call Thomas Helbig with the Retirement Advisory Group at 314-993-9494. He'll show you how to participate in the market games without ever losing a penny. Thomas is the official financial advisor of the DGS.
Attention St. Louis homeowners. Are you looking to sell your house without all the stress? Chris Buys Homes in St. Louis can buy your house cash and close on your timeline. No commissions, no repairs, no appraisals, no showings, no headache. Call Chris now, 314-782-7000, or go online to chrisbuysHomesSTL.com to get a free no-obligation cash offer for your house. Behind on payments? The tenant stopped paying the rent? The house needs too many repairs? Not a problem. Chris buys houses in any condition and deals with any situation. There's a reason why Chris Buys Homes is the most trusted home buyer in St. Louis. Go online to get your offer today. chrisbuysHomesSTL.com or call 314-782-7000. That's 314-782-7000.
The Med Spa at the Institute of Natural Health understands how difficult it is to maintain healthy skin and how much this can affect someone's life. With the right combination of treatments and products, they can help you keep your skin looking healthy and more youthful, while also reducing and preventing damage. Take your first step towards healthy skin at the Med Spa at the Institute of Natural Health. Visit them at inhstl.com or call to schedule at 314-293-8123. That's 314-293-8123.
Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm here in St. Louis. I've been warning our clients that IRS employees are back at work since mid-July, and their collection efforts have ramped up. Well, sure enough, it looks like it's happening. So if you have unfiled tax returns, wage levies, bank levies, or tax liens, now's the time to call the Lance Drury Law Firm before the IRS calls you. Tax resolution plans are based off your current income. So if your current income is less than normal due to the COVID-19 pandemic, this is precisely the time for the Lance Drury Law Firm to help you. Your consultation is free, so don't put it off. The Lance Drury Law Firm focuses solely on tax resolution law. It's all we do. And if you have IRS problems, you have legal problems. Let us use our tax law resolution experience to guide you and work on your custom resolution plan. Call now. It's free and confidential. Call me, Lance Drury, at 314-260-6120 or go to Lance, DRURY law.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Hi, Chad Hansen with Hansen's Tree Service and Environmental Resources. At Hansen's, we manufacture a full line of garden and landscape products that are perfect for your outdoor project. Pick up any of our products at World Outdoor Emporium, Kirkwood Materials, or a Hansen's location near you.
The latest local forecast and severe weather coverage you can count on from the name in St. Louis weather.
This is 97.1's Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
On 97.1 FM Talk. Powered by Air Comfort Service.
Man, I love hearing some great Van Halen music, especially the Van Hagar era, but I'm still reeling from the news that Eddie Van Halen died yesterday. Man.
I can't believe we haven't heard all day the Crystal Clear Pepsi theme song. which is what I call is it Right Now? Is that the name of the actual song? Come on, you know.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that ad. Yeah. Yeah.
That's how the whole country knows that song, right? It's not just me.
Yep.
Okay,
That's
great. Thanks
what
for the support, guys.
Of course, you know that it pretty much. I thought anybody under my age would be asking, "What the heck is Crystal Pepsi?" I remember Crystal.
Well, let's
Pepsi.
ask our resident expert. Do you know what Crystal Pepsi is, Katie Fitzpatrick?
I don't. Not at all.
Okay.
Yeah. See, there it is. Exactly. That's kind of what I thought.
Well, just a brief history. Pepsi tried to create a PR soda, I think, that was clear. It was not cola. It was cola, but it was clear cola. And they called it Crystal Clear Pepsi. And Right Now by Van Halen was the theme song.
Dang.
Yeah.
Yeah, which Van Halen made a lot of money off them using the rights to that. All right, I'm Mike Ferguson in for Annie Frey. Bail reform. That is among the criminal justice topics, and maybe even more of a topic right now, because it turns out that Derek Chauvin, accused in the death of George Floyd, he did post bond, and so he's been released from jail, which is part of the criminal justice process. And I don't know where he got the money to post it, but he did. And so he's out on bond right now. And there are a lot of efforts to reform bond, some going as far as to call for the elimination of a bail bond system because some people can't afford it. Joined now by Horace Cooper, is the co-chairman of Project 21. I believe it's the largest network of Black conservatives in America. And looking at your article, your op-ed at nationalcenter.org, Horace, it says bail reform is to justice what an arsonist is to forest management. Great quote, Horace. Good to talk to you again. What do you mean by that?
Well, thanks for having me on the program. And the concern that I am identifying is that we presently don't have the capacity to hold every single person in America who is being charged. You could be charged with a DUI. You could be charged with a hot check. You could be charged with a rape or an assault or a burglary. We don't have the ability right now, and not even near term, perhaps not even long term, to hold every single person. So what we do is that we get them to agree that they'll stay in the area. They're not going to run free, wild, and escape. And when trial time comes, they will make an appearance. And typically what they do is they are assessed some sort of bail that will ensure that they will appear. They make a payment, and if they don't appear, they forfeit that payment. If you eliminate that, then you don't get to say, well, we'll just hold those people in jail, because as I just explained, we don't have the ability for every single person who is being investigated to be held, and therefore what you'd see is a circumstance where people would flee and simply not show up for their appearance. And probably the guiltier they are, the more likely they would do it. And certainly the more violent they are, the more likely they would do it.
So Horace Cooper is on the phone with us from Project 21. So are you in favor of the current system overall then, or and reforming it, or does the whole thing need to? I'm having trouble finding where your position is on this.
Oh, very, very simple. This idea that we must, quote, reform our criminal justice system so that people just promise, they just give their word that they're going to show up, will in fact overwhelm our criminal justice system, because it will not hold people accountable when those people don't show up. Under the earlier system that existed nationwide and that had not been reformed as recently as this summer, under that system, you might have to put grandma's house up as a bond to promise us that you're going to show up. Bail reform says, nope, you don't need to do that. Don't worry about it. Just promise us that you'll make your appearance, and that will be good enough for everyone. What we've seen this summer is that when that is employed, people are not showing up, and they're also committing other crimes while they're supposed to be waiting for their trial. One of the promises that you make, in addition to that you'll show up for your trial, is that you won't engage in any other criminal behavior so that we can trust you to be left alone. If you eliminate the option, and that's what, quote, reform is called, we're going to eliminate any payment requirement, and everyone will just shake their hand and swear, maybe even pinky swear, except for, quote, the most heinous crimes. And then those will still have bail.
Horace, one of the arguments in favor of bail reform, I'll just let you answer it, and that has to do with the fact that those who are the poorest in this country wouldn't have access to bail, a bondsman. They wouldn't even be able to put up a 10%. So they're saying, but the bail system we have is unjust because somebody who's middle or upper class can easily afford bail and go about their lives. Those who are poor can't, and so somebody accused of the same crime can have two very different experiences within the system itself. So is there something that needs to be addressed within that, maybe in a different way, or is that just not something that bail reform should be dealt with?
Okay, first of all, those assertions, and they're being repeated everywhere, actually are belied by the data. Here is the truth. Your bail is set not as a function solely of are you of a socioeconomic level or not. Your bail is a function of two things. How vicious and violent was the crime that you committed, and how likely are you, if you are given a bond, will return and show up for court. Now, why does that matter? The second part means that if you are Bill Gates and worth some $30 billion or $70 billion or whatever your amount is, you don't get the same bond that Horace Cooper might get, because if you gave them $100,000 or even $100 million bond, they're in a circumstance where they can walk away from that. Bonds are a function of the viciousness or of the violent act and some way of coercing your appearance. Everyone doesn't get the same bond. Every crime doesn't get the same bond. So it's not accurate to simply say two people were shoplifting, one of them makes $100,000 a year, the other makes $17,000 a year, they're going to get the same bond. Absolutely they're not. That's the whole point of it. Now, with regard to what happens when you're attempting to get your bond covered, there are companies all across the country in every single county who will work with you so that you can put up a modest amount as a way of them putting up the full amount so that they can assist the court in understanding that you are going to show up. Only if that bond company or every bond company you go to believe that you are in fact a flight risk will it be difficult for you to be able to get some level of support. Most people who do not go the bail route are under the impression that they can speed up the time it's going to take for them to get to trial. There are some rare exceptions where that doesn't happen, but it's precisely because we can't hold every single person that if a person sat there, that would, in fact, speed up the need to get them to court and make a final determination as to whether or not they're guilty of which. The data just doesn't show that if you're black or if you're poor, you're going to get a higher bond or a bond that to you feels higher than it would for another person who's not black or who's in a higher socioeconomic group.
Horace Cooper is co-chairman Project 21, and you're talking about the bail project. Obviously, an issue you're very passionate about and know a lot more than we do about it. Let me present this situation to you, one that we've seen quite a bit over the last few months since the summer began, where somebody gets arrested for a crime, looting, rioting, whatever. They get put in jail, but then an outside group comes and bails them out. Where do you stand on that kind of thing happening within this bail project that you're talking about?
Okay, so that's the Bail Project, which is a East Coast entity that is going around saying to any person who has been given the option of bail, we'll see to it that your bail is covered. Now, one of the reasons, as I mentioned before, why you might sit in jail is you're waiting to pressure the system to give you your trial. Another reason might be that your bail was set particularly high because of the nature of the crime that you've committed. What the Bail Project tries to do is offset that and essentially say, oh, on paper, this person is only of an income group of 17, 18, or 19,000. We, sitting outside, have a bail fund of $150 million. We'll simply give that money. If it's your money or if it's grandma's house, in some jurisdictions it's your vehicle, and you don't show up, guess what? You would forfeit grandma's house. But if it's the Bail Project's money, well, that's up for them to figure out how they're going to pay for it. It's not up to you. So what limitation is it on you, on your behavior? That means when you're out, you're able to do any kind of thing you want, including not show up, because there's no actual sanction that's going to come to you. I wrote about this case last year where a person was charged with a burglary and was given a peace bond. Essentially, I swear I'm going to show up, and the person was released. They stole a car in the courthouse parking lot that very day and went out and engaged in more crime. There is no sanction that you're going to forfeit if you take that option away. And again, we don't have the alternative. Well, let's just hold those kinds of people behind bars. We don't know how many that's going to be. Could you hold 1 million? Could you hold 5 million? How many accused people are we going to put in a holding cell, not prison, in a holding cell while we wait for trial?
All right, Horace Cooper from Project 21. And I guess it would be, where can we find the writing? Obviously, Project 21, but conservativeblog. Is it .com or .org that you post a lot of these?
.org, yes.
.org, conservativeblog.org. Horace, for Project 21, good to talk to you again. I'm sure we'll talk to you again soon.
Thanks for having me on.
All right, that's once again co-founder of Project 21, Horace Cooper. All right, just ahead here, this is where Ryan really shines. We have polling data, right?
Dude,
Ryan, we've got polling data.
I am thrilled about this poll data.
I'm thrilled.
I can't wait to talk. I've been waiting for 2 days because I can't wrap my mind around what I'm reading, and I've been studying. I can't wait to present this to you.
And the great part is that we're going to translate what does it actually mean. We'll try something different. We're not going to talk about numbers. We're going to talk about people. We're just going to use the polls to do it. Right?
We'll see.
Sort of?
Well, that's going to be mostly numbers.
All right. I'm Mike Ferguson in for Andy Frey. That's just ahead here on 97.1 FM Talk.
This is the Annie Frey Show. Talk lines are open now at 314-241-9797 or 866-455-9797.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling Studio. You're not the only one working more from inside your home, so is your HVAC system. If your system needs service, Air Comfort Service will promptly and safely be there for you. Visit aircomfortservice.com.
Every day, Ameren works to deliver reliable energy throughout the region to on-the-go families, new parents, in-the-know grandparents, busy students, night owls, weekend warriors, and more. But did you know we also have options to help manage and track your energy, like paperless billing, outage notifications, pick a due date, and so much more. So no matter who you are or how you use your energy, there's an option that's right for you. Learn more at Ameren.com/options.
What could you do with an extra few $100 every month? Or what could you do in, say, 15 years, maybe 16 years from now, if you refinanced your mortgage from where you are right now, and maybe you had a 30-year fix and you bought a house 5 years ago? What if you were done paying that mortgage in 15 years from now? Maybe you're financially a little better off than you were then, and you could afford a higher payment, but with a lower rate. How much higher? Do I have your interest peaked? Well, this is where Stewart's American Mortgage comes in, and where Stewie, my friend, comes in, because you know what? Stewie is going to listen to what you're trying to do here, your goal, and he is going to help you get into a situation that's going to ultimately result in what you need. A shortened mortgage term. Maybe it's a lower rate and a lower monthly payment because you need to free up some cash. There's crazy stuff going on right now. Completely understand all of those scenarios. The bagel loan, where you can only get it at Stewart's American Mortgage, isn't going to charge you fees up front that other lenders are going to charge you for. And he's not going to put them anywhere else. The bagel loan doesn't have those fees. He doesn't charge them. You don't pay them. I've done it. I didn't. 314-324-4440. That's 314-324-4440. Call Stewie today. Mention my name when you do. NMLS number 226715.
Are you looking for ways to increase the value of your business property? Well, repainting is one of the most cost-effective options. Let the expert team at CertaPro Painters help protect your investment with professional results. You can trust CertaPro Painters to get the job done right and safely. Plus, each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. They are a local business you can support. Contact them today at CertaPro.com and discuss your project and get a proposal. CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C.
Hey guys, Glover here for my friends at ThrottleNet.com. So it's crazy time at ThrottleNet. They are IT geniuses, but they are a little bit nutty. Right now, they will pay you $250 for a conversation about your IT support because they value your time during the crazy pandemic. They'll give you the first 30 days for free, no charge for all of their services. And then they'll pay you another $1,000 if you decide to leave in the first 30 days for your trouble. They don't anticipate that you're going to leave, but if you do, they'll shake your hand, they'll put you back where you were, and they'll write you a check for $1,000. It is completely no risk, and they reward you for your time and for your effort. They are the best IT shop in the city, named number 1 5 years straight. They are good guys. Like I said, they are geniuses at protecting you, but they can communicate. They don't stare at their shoes. They look you in the eye, and they tell you what you need to know. ThrottleNet.com/971.
With United Healthcare Medicare Advantage plans, there's so much to take advantage of, like $0 copays on hundreds of prescription drugs.
Wow.
Pick up at your local pharmacy or take advantage of free delivery. To learn more, visit AdvantageWow.com.
Wow.
That's AdvantageWow.com.
$0 copay may be restricted to particular tiers, preferred medications, or mail order prescriptions during the initial coverage phase and may not apply during the coverage gap or catastrophic stage. Free delivery with preferred mail order pharmacies.
Wow.
Jay Farner here, CEO of Rocket Mortgage. Making the right financial decisions has never been more important. When you turn to Rocket Mortgage, we can help guide you to those right decisions now when they matter most. Mortgage rates are near historic lows, so now is a great time to call 8338-ROCKET. And if you need some extra money, a cash-out refinance could give you that financial boost you're looking for. Call today at 8338-ROCKET or go to rocketmortgage.com to learn more.
Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030.
The Mark Cox Morning Show.
Comey knew, Brennan knew, Obama knew, and Biden knew that Hillary Clinton was trying to ramp up a lie about Donald Trump and Russia.
What difference at this point does it make?
Weekday mornings 5 to 9.
Okay, we got a vice presidential debate coming up tonight. We are less than a month from the presidential election. And yes, we all have our preferences on how we hope it goes. But the important thing is, thank you, God, this thing's about to be over. in this election, one way or the other.
Yes.
Do you think we'll actually rest after it's over, or will we see unrest? No pun intended.
I think we will see unrest, and I think we are now in a constant year-round, no off-season, redlining political season from here on out, unless the entire country decides to take a step back, take a breath, and realize that we should be able to live our lives, and that there are more important things in the world of politics. I just don't know if we are ever going to get to that point where we realize there are more important things in politics. But I would also argue, if you are redlining with political fever every day, every year, no off season, that should tell you that government is too important. It's too big. It should have less to do with our lives. And that's an argument for limited government and smaller government.
I cannot argue with that at all. Love that point.
All right.
Ready for this?
So I'm ready. Hit us
All right,
with some
hit it.
numbers and tell us what they mean.
Polls. Yeah, it just ends. I love how the song gets going and just
I love
stops.
it.
All right, so here we go. I am a shill for polls. I love them. I have been looking at the methodology of a very specific poll that you may have heard about called the Democracy Institute poll. Mike, you're shaking your head like you've seen this poll and that you're laughing at me for looking at it. But
No. I mean, I've heard of that particular one. I was just like, you said you may have heard of this. I'm like, yeah, I've heard of that one.
Okay. So I keep looking at the methodology of this because, of course, I am openly voting for Trump this election season. I hope that he wins for America's future and so forth and so on. So people will send me polls a lot, listeners and things that say, look at this poll. This one really has has Trump leading. And I'll read the headline and be like, wow, I hope that's true. And then I will look into the methodology of it and realize that actually they're just oversampling Republicans, which is what a lot of the mainstream polls do for liberals. They oversample the Democrat side because they assume that they're going to see a higher turnout for Democrats this year, which they did in 2016 too. So I don't know why they are doing that this year. They must just think the fervor's hot, which it is. But there's no real data to back up that you're going to see a higher Democrat turnout than Republican turnout this year. The same is true of Republicans. You can't assume that you're going to see a higher Republican turnout this year than 2016. So when somebody sends me one of those polls and I see the methodology, I immediately throw it out and say, this is a right-wing poll, just like so many are left-wing polls. That's why this one fascinates me so much, because A, it does have Trump in the lead, but B, it uses a methodology that I've never seen before, and it fascinates me why more people don't do it. So they take 500 people from any given state. We'll say Florida, because they've done several states, all swing states, of course. So they did 500 people in Florida. Trump came out leading 48 to 44% in Florida. Well, that kind of flies in the face of most mainstream polls that we're seeing right now. And so I looked into it. Well, why is that happening? Well, most mainstream polls will take 500 voters and they'll say, okay, we think about 44% of voters are going to show up who are Democrat and vote for Biden, and 42% are Republicans, and they're going to show up and vote for Trump. And then there's this, mix of independents, and here's how we think they're going to vote. And therefore, Biden wins by 2%. That's pretty much the methodology of how they do it. This one takes the actual number of registered voters in the state. It says, what percentage are Democrats? What percentage are Republicans? What percentage are independents? And it mirrors the exact number of percentage-wise in that state. When you do it that way, which is the actual people voting, not predictive. This is what you're actually you have on the books. This is how many people are registered in each party. This is how many people are registered independents. You see Trump winning Florida. You see Trump winning Minnesota. You see him winning New Hampshire by just using the data that's on the books, which I can't believe we're not doing in more instances, Mike.
I've been arguing that Minnesota is in play when people are thinking that that's nuts for anybody to say. So I think that's fascinating. That states like Minnesota could actually be in play. But yeah, the methodology is is what most people miss. They just hear the numbers, because if you just listen to the reports that are coming out of all the, cable news companies and social media and everything, you would think that there's no point whatsoever in conservatives showing up to vote this year, which is kind of the point of a lot of these polls. I have argued before, I will say it again, I maybe have even said it on this show before, that I think many polls, if not most polling done right now, is more about shaping opinion than it is about measuring opinion.
It has to be. Or it's done by people in bubbles who aren't using any actual data to figure out what turnout's going to be. And they just assume, well, everybody around me seems to be really passionate about Democrats this year, so I'm going to assume we're going to have high Democrat turnout. Now, there is some data on that, but...
Yeah, let me ask you this. I mean, are they doing as either part of the poll or as in a separate poll, how likely all these people are to show up? Because you can poll who people like better, but that doesn't matter if they don't show up to vote for them.
Sure. Yeah, this poll is actually likely voters. So it's not registered voters. It's not just people, because you see some polls, they're just polling people, not even if they're registered to vote. Those are very inaccurate. Some do registered voters, some do likely voters. This one did likely voters. One of the biggest questions in here that I think this is how you would know how to, if you're going to do a mainstream poll and not do it the way that this one did, you would use data like this, the enthusiasm gap. Question, are you strongly or very enthusiastic about your choice of candidate? Trump voters, 83% yes. Biden voters, 49% yes.
That does not surprise me at all.
Me either. And that is what's going to drive turnout, which in all major polls, they're saying benefits Democrats, which is in stark contrast to these actual questions that are being asked.
Now, here's the other question, though. The flip side of that is, I suspect, because I do think there's a huge enthusiasm gap, and we saw that in 2016 as well. That's why you're seeing an awful lot of the Democratic campaign, everything from the presidential race, even to St. Louis County, when they were trying to bring in Trump as, in the squabble between the county council and Sam Page. It was GOP Trump supporters that were doing this. It didn't have anything to do with what they're arguing over. But the enthusiasm, they're hoping maybe if it's not for Joe Biden, maybe it's enthusiasm against Donald Trump. Maybe they're hoping that's the motivation.
Yeah, here's another really fascinating question that you don't see a lot of, which I think, so this poll did a lot right, and some of it's just in the questions that they asked that nobody else is asking. This is one of them. Are you comfortable with your friends, relatives, and coworkers knowing how you vote?
Wow.
Trump voters, 22% said yes. Biden voters, 87% said yes. That says that there definitely is a shy or hidden Trump voter in there too, which they're not even accounting for that. They're just saying, here's an interesting question. What do you say to it?
That would be the so-called silent majority we're hearing a lot of.
Yeah. Yeah. So one last point before we wrap things up here, as we're getting close to the end. This this poll is not just using interesting methods to find their data and finding that basically every swing state except maybe Wisconsin seems to be pushing toward Trump. But this was also, Democracy Institute poll was one of, if not the most accurate polls in 2016.
Whoa.
So if you're wondering if they have any credence behind this, it all lines up. And I've been studying it for 2 days. I can't find a fault in it. And that's why it's fascinating to me.
Yeah, there's a lot of wild cards that are happening. I mean, there may be a lot of people who say, I'm absolutely going to vote, and then get scared of a COVID outbreak. So there are more variables there could be. But I just got a feeling that if somebody's made up their mind, they're going to vote. They're going to find a way to vote this year. The most interesting thing you just said to me, Ryan, is who's comfortable with their friends and family and neighbors knowing who you're going to vote for. To me, that tells a lot of the story. And if there is some kind of shock where to a lot of people, because the media is just arguing this thing's over,
right?
The dumbest things I've heard is a new national poll has Joe Biden 7 points up. Who flipping cares?
Or 14 points up the other day from Wall Street Journal or ISB or something like that.
He could be 50 points up. It doesn't matter in a national poll. I don't think he's up 14 points by any stretch, but to me, that's really interesting when you have the people who say, I'm going to vote for this person. I'm sure there's a number in there that I'm enthusiastically going to vote for this person, But man, I just don't want to tell people I'm going to vote for this person.
Yeah. One last little piece of data from this before we close out is that I just walked through all the reasons why I think this is a legitimate poll. This isn't polling right. It's just using data the way that I can't believe more people don't. It says that if their polling comes out the way that they expect, Biden would get 218 electoral votes. Trump would get 320.
Oh, wow.
So
that's a slam dunk.
That's a pretty decisive victory.
That's winning by a couple touchdowns and a field goal there. Hey, that is interesting. Hey, been fun again. Andy's going to be back tomorrow.
Thanks for filling in.
Ryan, thanks a lot. Now we gotta make ready for the DGS, and God knows what they're going to talk about. I just know it's going to be entertaining right here on 97.1 FM Talk.
I'm not America's sweetheart, so beat the drum with me. I'm not America.
Hi, this is Lance Drury. If you have payroll tax problems, you have serious legal problems. You